I'm a friend of the show, Simon Fisher-Becker, and you're listening to Traveling the Vortex.
Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and landed episode number 141, and I hold in my hand a capsule that contains so much power. Life and death, on such a scale, is my choice. The tiny pressure of my thumb to break the glass will end everything. Oops. Would have been so brilliant if I had started laughing.
Oops. I didn't know you were going to oops.
I didn't know I wasn't either.
Well, so much for instilling them with a sense of awe.
I'm Keith.
I'm dead.
I'm Glenn. Oops.
Just seems so perfect.
That was great. Actually, it was funnier than I think what we intended to do there. We're going to go with that?
Sure.
All right.
Now that we're all dead, how was your weekend?
It was awesome until Sunday night.
Until I died.
Some jackhole killed me with a poison virus.
I'm not dead yet.
It's just the flesh wound.
I'm not yet dead.
Wow.
Oh. Well, we've hit our peak, guys.
Keith, what'd you do other than secure a vial of a deadly virus?
Well, we watched an Adjustment Bureau on Monday.
Finally.
It wasn't a new episode of Newsroom.
And?
It was really good. I really
told
liked
you
it.
it was
I was
really
really
good.
impressed.
Who's in that? You guys told me last week, I think. But
Matt Damon.
oh, right.
Emily Blunt.
Right, Born Identity 5.
Except not. I was pleasantly surprised. I expected it to be more Born Identity, and it wasn't at all. It was very Twilight Zone-esque.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to stop at Twilight. It was
No.
not Twilight.
It has a very Twilight Zone feel to it. I was thoroughly impressed by it. I really liked it.
I'm still digging through Bernie Bot's Every Flavor Beans.
And then, a friend sent me a copy on VHS of The Proms.
Ooh.
And we watched that on Saturday. Quite good. I have a big complaint with it. I don't know if we should talk about it now or later.
Well, we haven't seen it,
You
so
guys haven't seen
I've only heard it.
I've given you guys his copies. But the version that aired did not include a song for 50.
No, I did hear that. Yeah,
I did not
was
know
aware of that.
I'm not
yeah.
pleased with that.
I was aware of that.
I'm rather disappointed by that. Other than that, not much else. Helped my mom finish a puzzle.
How's your mom feeling?
A lot better. She gets the pins out on Friday.
Oh, wow.
So,
It's healing well, then.
yes.
Good.
Last time she was at the doctor.
Sure,
She was
good.
having a bit more pain than she expected.
Well,
but,
terrific.
Yeah. Otherwise, pretty good. Sarah watched Before Sunrise, and I caught the last half of it. The 90s.
That's the Before Sunset, Before Sunrise.
Yeah,
Two
the
of them.
trilogy.
Oh,
the
the trilogy?
third one just came out in theaters.
Oh.
And that's why she was like, oh, I'm interested in this. I'm like, well, you have to go watch these other two.
No.
And so then today we went and picked up Before Sunset, the second one, from the library. And she's going to watch that tomorrow. She really liked it.
Oh, good.
What I saw of it was rather charming.
Rather charming.
I didn't see enough of it to have the emotional connection.
Right,
to anything,
right.
but that's about it. Pretty low-key week. What'd you guys do, Sean?
Worked. Went to school. I watched Return to Oz. Yes, I like the Wizard of Oz. Stop asking me that.
Well, you guys went through a terror movies, though.
You
on
did,
Monday.
because you did
You had Monday off. You did
Cocoon
Pirates,
and
at least.
Cocoon The Return.
Mel watched
Oh,
those.
Mel watched
Yeah,
those.
Mel watched
without
those.
you.
I didn't watch those.
Did you watch Batteries Not Included with her then?
Nope.
Oh.
She watched that too?
Well, never mind.
Wow.
Well, she said she was going to. I don't know if she got around to.
Well, what started that
Because
is
what made her think of it was Jessica Tandy and
we
what's his
watched
name and-
the Gin Game for my drama classics class, and I was telling her about because Jessica Tandy and Hume Crone are in that, and it's one of those perfectly cast plays. It's about this elderly couple that kind of bicker and fight a little bit and have this almost old married couple relationship, and so they cast Hume and Jessica, and there's that aww, and they were genius because they cast these two, and you go aww, and as the play turns darker and gets more serious, you get very uncomfortable with the things they were saying to each other, and that was the genius of it. So Mel kind of went on that. Oh yeah, we should watch those movies because they're in all of those. What did we watch? We watched Pirates, Band of Misfits.
Did you like it?
I did. I really did like it. It was very cute. It's very funny, and it's very much in the Artem. If you like Wallace and Gromit or Chicken Run, you're going to like this one. Brian Blessed was sorely underused as the Pirate King. He showed up, and he's a pirate, and he's wearing an Elvis getup because he's the Pirate King. And I went, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And he doesn't hardly talk.
Yeah. He's not in it much.
It's like, man, that kind of blows.
But there isn't anybody else that could be the Pirate King.
But the monkey,
Bobo,
the what did he call him? They would cease being if you
shave a monkey and put him in a suit.
He would cease being a monkey, and he would be
a man.
Manpansy.
Yeah, manpansy.
Manpansy. Totally made up for everything else.
I thought David Tennant did a fantastic job as Darwin. I didn't hear David.
I didn't hear David Tennant. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought Hugh Grant did a good job as Pirate Captain.
I didn't recognize Hugh Grant, quite honestly.
I did immediately recognize Martin Freeman.
I did immediately recognize Martin Freeman. Who, by the way, since jumping ahead to Spamalot, if they ever made a movie version of Spamalot, which, yeah, I realize the absurdity of that, but if they ever did, Martin Freeman has to play Patsy.
Why they made Hairspray into a Broadway musical and then made that into a movie, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
I say let's do it.
Martin Freeman has to play Patsy.
How was Now You See Me?
Very good. I really, really, really liked that one. I was worried about it going in because I'd kind of heard some back and forth on it, and it's pretty much the Prestige meets Ocean 11. It's a very cool, hip, magic guys doing things, and the FBI is trying to catch them. Fantastic cast all the way around, and really well done. I have one qualm about it. They go back through and they kind of explain all of how they did all the stunts and all the magic and everything as the show progresses, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Except for the final one, which they didn't explain, and I'm kind of like,
Well, maybe they'll explain it in the sequel.
hopefully, yeah. Which, if you're listening, now you don't. That's the title. You have to use that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the first one's called Now You See Me, the second one must be called Now You Don't. That's how that works. You can't call it Now You See Me 2. You can't pull a Now You Still Don't See Me. I mean, where else are you going to go with that title? Now You Don't. That's the title of that.
Now you see me again.
Now You See Me Again. But no, it was really, really good. I liked it a lot. If I have one complaint about it, I think it's the magic tricks. There was a little more CGI epic nature of them to make them look cooler, and it's like, well, now you're kind of spoiling it because I know you can't really do that. But that's a small complaint. So yeah, fantastic. Mark Ruffalo was awesome. Morgan Freeman was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Caine's always awesome.
Did they have big roles in it?
Mm-hmm.
The impression they had small parts.
They're smaller parts, but they're still very, very interesting. I mean, Mark Ruffalo is the FBI agent chasing them down, so
Yeah, I knew
he's
he
in
was,
almost all
yeah.
of it.
I mean, Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine.
Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine both have smaller roles, but still very, very, very important roles. Like not like 6 minutes of screen time. They're in more than that.
Oh,
but
okay. All right.
so that was really good.
Are they in it more than they are in Batman?
Yes. Yeah, probably about comparable to the first,
At least the last one.
To the last one. Yeah.
I don't think they were in the other two as much as. It seemed like Michael Caine was in the last one a lot more than he was
Yeah, I
in.
think he was. Yeah.
Yeah, on par with that. What else did we watch? I don't remember now.
Made an impression.
Yeah, they must have all been good. I don't remember.
Yeah, because if they were bad, we'd be hearing about them.
I just know, you know.
You saw another play before Spamalot. Before we get to Spamalot.
Why you got to bring that one up?
Because you did. It was something else you did.
I went and saw Quake, which was being produced locally here at Washburn. You want me to be honest?
I've never heard of this play.
I hadn't either.
Well, it's produced here locally.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
somebody
written?
they
No,
yeah,
it's
students.
written.
Is it
It's a national.
Oh, I thought you told me the other night
Well,
that
it's
it was
produced locally, produced
well,
by students and everything, but it's
yeah.
based on a.
Well, duh, it's a college play.
Yeah.
Of course, it's produced by students.
No, as far as I know, it was written by.
Okay, I didn't realize.
It won awards for.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm owing. I haven't seen it. Well, just from the impression that he gave me the other night.
I mean, no disrespect to anybody associated with the play at Washburn. They all did a fine job. As you can only do as good as you can do with the material you're given.
Doesn't even have a. Is the full name Quake?
Quake.
That's it.
Yeah, Melanie Marnouche or something. Yeah, it's 85 minutes of my life I won't get back. That's how bad that was. And I kind of said that to work. And Grace at work also is taking that class, but she's in a different night than I'm at. And so she had to go. So she went today, and she sent me a text. She goes, yeah, I didn't like it either. So, yeah, not so much on that one. I'm sure there's a fine story in there somewhere, but I didn't like it. But then Glenn and I went Friday night?
No, it's Saturday.
Saturday. Glenn and I went Saturday.
You're not on.
Why is my mic
I don't
not
know.
working?
Topeka Civic Theater.
Am I plugged in?
You're plugged in.
It's weird. I was working earlier, wasn't I?
No, I don't think you've ever been working it. That's why you sounded really distant. So
Should I flip the switch?
Oh, wait.
that would be it. Now
How
I
did
can,
that get
now I can
switched?
hear you.
I don't know how that got bumped.
You've been up since we started.
It should have been down all the way.
Well, that's good to know. I'll look for that from now on. Because I can see the switch.
Well, I don't know how much of the first part that they heard.
Hopefully you heard
You're
my
way
great
off in
introduction.
You're way off in the distance.
Do
Or
we need to
something.
re-record it?
I don't know.
We'll start over. I'm Sean.
We saw Spamalot on Saturday. Sean and I and Mel and Dave and Laurie and
I'm assuming
Monty
Hollywood.
Python's
Papa
Spamalot.
Bear. They never said what his name was. So
I'm sorry. I thought I introduced myself. I thought
no, nobody ever introduced me.
Brian.
Brian.
I think.
Holly didn't
Actually, he's in the play that my niece is in. So he's Papa Bear and Lauria's Mama Bear and my niece is Baby Bear.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
in Shrek.
I didn't know that.
So.
Oh,
Cool.
And my niece also plays young Fiona in a flashback scene. So.
how was Spamalot?
Spamalot was good. I really, really enjoyed it. Now I've never seen it ever, and I've heard the soundtrack once. Somebody I know has it. Maybe it was Dave had it when we were listening to it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a fantastic adaptation of basically Monty Python
And the
and
Holy,
the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Here's what it is. It's Monty Python and the Holy Grail and a bunch of Eric Idle Python songs and thrown together. Boom.
Okay.
But they work. And there's some of the songs are original specifically for the musical, but some of them, like Finland, the opening number is it's odd. That I think that's off of contractual obligation. The Bright Side of Life is from Meaning of Life. I can't remember some of the. There was a couple other ones that I recognized that have been off previous albums before, but then there was original songs in there as well, and they're all very, very Eric Idle, and it's a really good adaptation. I had a lot of fun. My only complaint with it, well, I had two. First was, and this is the same thing I said about, although I thought they were better. This time, the orchestra just is not very strong there, and I feel like that the actors got there eventually as far as the songs go, but the production numbers need to be a lot bigger, like boisterous, loud.
Boisterous, I would agree with.
Yes, and it's because that orchestra's holding back and it's not pushing it. And then
That sounds like it's I wonder if that's more of a sound guy problem.
I don't know. This was better. This was certainly better.
They had some mic issues this time, which that's
there was a little bit of a buzz.
one of the other things that I don't know, maybe I'm too old school, but I kind of fall into that. If you're going to come out on stage, you should be able to project to the back row.
Yeah,
I want to be able to hear you, and if I can hear you on a mic, it doesn't count.
Well, yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that. The other issue that I have was the sets. I mean, they were minimal, which is fine. I don't have a problem with minimal set because if the acting is really good,
this was the main stage,
shouldn't
right?
be noticed. Yeah. However, if I'm going to do Spam-A-Lot, I'm going to get somebody in there that can do very Terry Gilliam-esque sets. That the Grail that was on the shot with the lady in the lake, I can't remember, Guinevere. Oh, spoiler. Was standing in should have looked like the Grail that was on all the pictures that we kept seeing on the monitors on the sides. And
that cartoony.
Yeah, they just needed to be that really. I would have brought somebody in to do that because I mean it's community theater. It's a lot of it's volunteer. I just think I would have strove for that look of everything. I think everything should have had that hillside with the bunny, the killer rabbit. All of that should have had this just kind of a Gilliam touch to it, and it didn't. It was like we need a hill. Okay, here we go. Here's some skulls and crossbones.
We'll reuse this tree set from 2 plays ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It didn't have that. It needed that. It needed that, and I think it's probably like that on the West End. And it's probably like that on Broadway. So, but anyway, minor complaints because the actors did a phenomenal job. I thought they were all stellar. Dave said something that he had a problem with them falling in and out of like some. He said you either go all the way and do it Holy Grail, or line for line, or you do your own thing with it. But they seem to be kind of doing
parts
both.
of it were. It was just enough to get you there, but not enough that you could quote along with it.
I was fine with that though because I wanted them to kind of stay true to the material, but take little pieces, which I felt they only did that on little parts, and make that their own. And I thought I was perfectly fine with that because we are doing it here. I mean, it's centralized. They even reference Topeka at some point in the play because you do it based on locations. Cool. So I thoroughly enjoy it. It's the best show I've seen there, honestly. And I loved Les Mis. I thought they did a great job of Les Mis. Again, the orchestra was weak, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's a wonderful musical. I'd love to see it on Broadway or on the East or West End. In the UK, it would be even better. And the recording of God, did you notice who that was?
You asked me, and
I texted.
I never looked.
It was Eric.
It was Eric Idle?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Dave, I guess, looked it up. Apparently, when he saw it, because they saw it in the UK, when he saw it was John Cleese was the voice of God. So apparently, it's probably something you can download if you're doing a local production or whatever. You can download that audio. So I heard it and I went,
probably
whoever's doing that voice sounds exactly like Eric Idle. And then as I thought about it, I thought, well, it's probably audio you can get if you're doing Spam-A-Lot. It's Eric Idle's play.
You paid for the
musical.
rights for it.
Yeah, you probably get a chance to use it as part of the package. So
I liked it. I also had a good time. It was a lot of fun, and it was very funny and enjoyable. I think I fall down a little bit more on the it's community theater trying to do Monty Python, and I don't know that you can really capture the essence of that movie. And
see, I think that's your guys' problem. Is I think you guys go in there looking for the movie, but I don't think I don't think you should be for a musical version, an adaptation of. I don't want them up there doing everything line for line because I'm always going to be disappointed with that.
Yeah.
Because nobody can do it like the Pythons. But if you can deliver the lines and the jokes in such a way and just put a little bit of a twist or a little bit of spin on them, I'm perfectly fine with
yeah,
that.
no, I didn't necessarily want line for line from the movie, but I think I don't know. I don't know what I wanted. I wanted it to be because I think parts of it were just so much almost line for line that I kind of had that. Well, I could be watching the movie and having a better time.
Yeah, that's
and then
what
there were
I
other
did
parts
want.
that were completely different. Like I mean, obviously, the Lady of the Lake does not have other than one name drop. She's not in the movie at all, and she's got a fairly major part in this.
They
one.
needed a female lead.
They did need a female. Spam-A-Lot's very much a boys' club kind of movie or kind of play. So I don't know. Like I said, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I did. I really liked it, and I had a lot of fun. I wasn't blown away by it. I think maybe I set my expectations too high because I really wanted to be. I was so excited. It's like, Spam-A-Lot, we're going to go see Spam-A-Lot, and they're going to throw spam in the audience, and everything's going to be great. And yeah.
Didn't happen.
I'm still sour over the trivia. I think that's what it is.
Oh, now.
I'll
tell you.
They did trivia for opening night.
Yeah.
And
Opening weekend.
Opening weekend trivia. And I got, of the 15 questions, apparently I know everything there is to know about Monty Python. I got those all right. I don't know anything about theater. I don't know anything about spam.
Actual spam.
And well, no, because I got the Hawaii question right.
You did get the Hawaii, but you didn't get the...
I didn't get the flavor. Did you know?
You didn't get the barbecue.
They had a question. Which of these is not a genuine flavor of spam?
Okay.
A, hickory smoked. B, barbecue. I don't remember C.
Low sodium.
C, low sodium, which I don't understand as a flavor, but all right. And D,
variety.
Roasted turkey.
Oven roasted.
Oven roasted turkey. Which of these is not
I'm going
a
to say
flavor of
now
spam?
barbecue.
Yeah, I gave it away.
Yeah.
Oven roasted turkey is a flavor
Oven
of spam.
roasted turkey is apparently a flavor of spam, but barbecue is not. That is bizarre.
Well, you just buy barbecue sauce and put it on your spam.
Well, Keith's got to figure it out. He's not getting the fact that oven roasted
Oh, no, I get
turkey
that. I get that.
is a spam. Flavor of spam.
But it's not... Okay. Well, I don't have a problem with that. I just did a quick Google search. It's actual turkey. Just in a spam container.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's one made with 100% white lean turkey. It's just been processed like spam.
Okay, the more I hear about this oven roasted turkey spam, the more I am beside myself with anger that this exists, because that's just wrong. Why would you grind up turkey and cram it into a can? That's just crazy
Why
talk.
would you grind up ham and
Yeah.
cram it into a can? Wow.
Because
Tongue twister there. It's a little mouthful.
I like the occasional spam.
I've never liked spam, so...
It's one of those, like, every 10 years I'll go, you know what sounds really good?
There's a lot of varieties.
I
I
like
never
it.
realized.
I like spam, but I have to open it, slice it, and then fry it
Yeah.
to fry
And
it
put
up.
cheese on it, too. That's
I never thought about putting cheese
Oh,
on
you
it.
put cheese on it.
You can get it
mayonnaise.
with jalapeno.
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 Jalapenos
On a steak.
Honest.
and bacon. And there's cheese ones. You can get it with cheese added.
I really don't care.
I've never...
I buy the plain kind and I
There's
fry it up.
oven
every once in a
roasted
while.
turkey spam. Yeah, so apparently I didn't know that.
Anyway,
And hot and spicy.
well, enjoyable show. And if you go to see it, if you haven't seen it, you go to see it. Word to the wise, it is as offensive as 1970s Python. So it is that humor. So
Oh,
there's a couple of them.
there were a couple of them that I'll be honest. My first reaction was, oh, no, they didn't. And then I had to think about what I was watching. It was like, of course they did. Absolutely, of course they did. So I turned my brain off and enjoyed the show. But
The other thing I did this weekend, I don't know if I even talked about what we did. I didn't do much this week, but today we took the kids to see Turbo.
Oh, how was Turbo?
Really cute movie.
Was
oh, was it?
It tanked in the box office.
You have to kind of shut your brain off because
It's a talking
you have to accept
snail.
no, it's not even that. It's the fact that you have to accept the fact that they let a snail into the Indy 500.
Well, okay.
And that probably the
Oh, wait, like the real Indy 500?
the thing
it's
that,
not like the snail Indy
no,
500.
No, it's the Indy 500. And I mean, and least of all, the reason is because there's nothing in the rules that says a snail can't enter. But once you get past that, you're right. It's good. It's cute. It's really...
So you should like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Because nothing says Abraham didn't kill
Nothing in history books
vampires.
say that he didn't kill
Yeah,
vampires.
there you go.
That's the whole point of that film. We can't verify that it didn't happen.
But it's
And
cute.
Tim Burton is convinced that it did.
It's cute. I very enjoyable.
You're not helping the argument there.
Yeah, it's true. That's pretty much it. Mason's third round of strep went
Wow.
today.
Oh, was that...
He went today. He was
He was sick?
feverish all Friday
Saturday.
night and Saturday morning, and because that was overnight, we didn't sleep much. And then Holly took him this morning because he said his throat was bothering him, and it wasn't necessarily hurting, but it was bothering. So she took him, and then so now we're on the third round of antibiotics. This one is like the uber antibiotic. So hopefully this will
He's going to have no biotics in him at all.
No kidding. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that one will work.
Hopefully. Poor guy.
That's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else that exciting that we really did. So
I've been catching up on Grimm season 2. Yeah.
there's so many of those shows going to be by this season. There's Graham, Once Upon a Time, which I've already been on. Once in Wonderland, Sleepy Hollow,
Dracula.
Is there a Dracula one though?
Yeah, with Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, it's better than the Alice in Wonder. I think Wizard of Oz medical drama.
There's a Wizard of Oz medical drama.
They've greenlit it.
Oh my gosh!
It's probably going to be the pilot's going to be made for next year, and we'll see if it gets further than that.
Wow.
Apparently, it's based off a novel or something.
Do you like the Wizard of Oz?
Shall we move on to news?
Medical drama.
News. Oh, BBC America has announced the Ninth Doctor Revisited, which will be Bad Wolf and Parting the Ways, Sunday, September 29th.
I thought we knew that.
Nope.
Did we presume? Or maybe I saw it in the news earlier this week.
It came out. I think
So when are we doing Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways?
I don't know.
Beat them to it, didn't we?
We did.
You heard it here first, folks.
In 2 weeks. I mean, that's what I'm thinking of, is that we're doing it.
Oh, you didn't really have to go look at the schedule. I was just...
Yeah. It's kind of... It's I'm kind of surprised they went with that instead of Empty Child Doctor Dances.
Yeah.
Yeah, that certainly would have been better.
Well, it has the Moffat tie-in, too.
Yeah.
But maybe they didn't want to do the Moffat tie-in since they've got...
And he's introducing it.
I thought this episode was just brilliant. It was probably the best thing I've ever written. And here it is.
But they have also released the... Is it the date? But they've released details for the DVD for Revisited 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, that might be where we found out that it was going to be Bad Wolf Parting the Ways.
Oh, maybe.
But 10's going to be Stolen Earth, Journey's End. And then Smith is Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon.
Perhaps.
It's according to the
Where's
release.
Peter Capaldi?
And what else?
It's 10... It's 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, well, it's not 9, 10, 11, 12.
Because there hasn't been a Capaldi episode and won't be by the time they air these.
Put the Christmas special on there.
Early.
Yeah. Next up, the next ebook has been announced. Charlie Higson, apparently a young Bond writer, or he wrote some young Bond novels, writes The Beast of Babylon.
Ooh. But there's a beast.
I bet it's from Babylon.
Spoiler, sweetie.
Looks like he's a successful author, actor, comedian, and writer for television and radio.
Yeah. Right.
He wrote the phenomenally successful Young Bond series, which has sold over 1 million copies in the UK alone, and has been translated to over 24 languages.
Wow, good for him.
Is this young James Bond?
I'm assuming.
There was a cartoon that I used to watch.
Yeah, James Bond Jr.
James Bond Jr.
It was his nephew, which I always thought was weird. And he was American.
Well, it couldn't be his son.
It's not his son.
No, that's what I'm saying. It couldn't be his son.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's a series
could
of
be.
5 young adult spy novels by Charlie Higson, featuring Ian Fleming's secret agent James Bond as a young teenage boy, attending school at Eton College in the 1930s. Kind of like a young Indiana Jones.
I'm bored.
it's kind of like Starfleet Academy. Writers, just for the record, going back to somebody's college days, generally not a good idea.
The Young Jedi Knights.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We don't care.
Kevin J. Anderson.
We really don't.
Okay, next up in news.
Young Sherlock Holmes.
Young Sherlock. Well, but that one...
That was good.
That one was good.
That's a good movie.
That's the exception more than the
That's
rule.
right. I brought with me that an Auton Carnival mask has sold for thousands of dollars on eBay.
How many thousands?
5,000. Actually, 5,000, not dollars, 5,154 pounds to be exact, which is about $10,000.
It's probably about how much that weighs.
It's a rare Auton Carnival mask. That's the really big faces.
Yes.
With this one doesn't have a hat
When the
on
Autons
picture.
were in disguise.
Yes. It was auctioned on eBay. The painted fiberglass head with felt eyes sold online site by London-based Miss P73, who said in the item description that it had been given to her by a family in the late 1970s when her father worked for for a studio transport company. Apparently, he had some scratches and a bit chipped and scraped.
Translation, it fell off the truck.
So, some lucky person on Thursday picked up an Auton mask.
And hopefully promptly dropped it.
It's probably going to hang on their wall.
Oh, God.
Just to scare people.
That's pretty awesome.
I would, you know what, if I had that, I would go down to Rio. I would go to Carnival, and I would wear that stupid thing. It'd be like Moonraker, where the Jaws comes out and he's wearing the gargantuan. Clowns are scary in of themselves. Richard Kiel wearing the Jaws, the clown outfit is like, holy crap! People I don't want to meet in a dark alley. Where are we? In a dark alley. Yeah, I'd wear the Auton mask at Carnival.
Carnival.
And the last bit of news:
Glitter pasties.
Doctor Who follows after Doctor Who Monopoly and
Doctor
Yahtzee.
Who, Trivial Pursuit.
And Trivial
Doctor
Pursuit.
Who.
Now there's Doctor Who Risk, the Dalek invasion of Earth.
Woo!
I know Sean's very excited about
I'm
it.
very excited about it.
You know, I've only played my Star Wars Risk once or twice.
I'll play with you.
It's been so long, I need to relearn.
I
love
played
Risk.
it. I played it before.
We actually we have a copy of Risk in at work. A new one. It's
Did
called.
you play Risk with us? Or was it just
Maybe
Me and Wade.
I love Risk.
the Star Wars one?
Oh, the Star-
with the Order 66.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
the
have
Clone
we
Wars,
played
yeah.
that.
I thought so.
We have one in at work called Risk Legacy, which apparently they've kind of revamped how Risk works, and there are certain things that are sealed up that you can't open until you have met certain requirements. So you play the game, and as you play the game, or as you play multiple games, and you build up experience points, different things unlock, and you get better weapons or better this, and it's kind of a technological advancement as well. But then certain things happen apparently in the game as you get to if you progress to a certain point where literally you can wipe countries off the map. Like you literally take the card and tear it up because that country doesn't exist anymore.
If you tear my Risk cards off, I will kill you.
Well, that's the game is specifically done. Some of them are you can upgrade, like you know how you get armies for different countries. You can actually upgrade the infrastructure of your country and get more armies. So you get a dry erase marker and you write on the board that this one now produces this instead of this. You get stickers to indicate, oh, I nuked that one.
You write on my Risk board, I will kill you.
Well, you'd have to buy the special game board for that. But the idea is that you never reset it.
This looks really
All right.
Where'd we leave off?
I don't know. What were you talking about? We had a little hiccup there, a little technical gaff.
You're just going to roll with it.
I think I can. Okay, I didn't do it that
Okay.
bad. Yeah, we're just rolling with it. Go. We rolled with Keith's
Well,
mic
my mic
being
not
on.
working for 30 minutes.
This is the technical errors show.
I've already done that one.
We're doing it again.
Did we have a technical
We had a
error
technical
show?
technical
I think we've
difficulties.
had several ones.
The return.
Dun,
Again.
dun, dun.
Now you don't.
2. But yeah, I mean, it's designed to be that you never ever reset the board back to standard Risk because it's advanced to that point where it's gone. It sounds really intriguing.
It's gone. It's just gone.
It's just gone.
The Earth is just
well,
gone.
there goes my.
There went the
There
game.
goes my game.
So,
We played it till it was gone.
from what it looks like in this, you only play as Daleks.
Thanks for bringing us back to what we were talking about because I'd forgotten.
So
You only play as
many
Daleks?
years ago,
Well, sure,
an ancient
sure.
artifact was
It should be
hidden
called
somewhere
Dalek Invasion Earth.
on the planet, an artifact that will enable the Daleks to reign supreme across the universe. Play as one of 5 different armies, either classic, parentheses black, bronze, and silver, or new Dalek paradigm, red and yellow,
Oh Lord!
as you invade Earth seeking the ancient weapon. Only once all opposition has been wiped out, you can begin the search. Will you be the last Dalek army left? Watch out for TARDIS sweeping around and the TARDIS sweeping around the board to defend Earth. As you fight for supremacy, the Doctor will do his best to stop you and bring peace to a different territory each turn.
Is there a special
the
weapons
Doctor's
dollar?
trying to thwart both sides. I like that. That's cool.
So it's kind of like the seventh Doctor.
Cut to the chase. Do I get a little plastic special weapons dollar?
It doesn't say. It's available exclusively from Forbidden Planet, October 25th. And you get special cards to boost powers and blah, blah, blah. One of which is Lieutenant Lethbridge Stewart.
Oh, you get Lethbridge Stewart?
He's a card. He's a power card.
Sweet.
See?
Power card.
Sweet.
His power is Unit Defend Earth. Lose all but one Dalek from one of your territories. That's not a very good power.
I think that's powers against you. Like you could play on the other team. You can,
I gotcha.
You can sick Lethbridge Stewart on them indirectly.
Go get him, boy.
That sounds like fun.
It does sound like fun. Keith, you should volunteer to buy that and we'll play.
Maybe I'll get it for
Just like
Christmas.
we've played the card game and the,
And the
RPG and...
That's it for news. That's all I had.
Cool. Well, let's move on to feedback. Let's move on to feedback. Let's move on to feedback.
First up,
Somebody's not getting a clue. He's supposed to play his song now.
There's no song.
he shook his head.
There's no song. He was trying to slip it by again this week, wasn't he?
No, I told you there was no song.
You know what? I'm going to have to come
What?
up with a
When did you
great
tell me
song
that?
for when he's gone to show him up.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
You do. You go, Keith.
I'm going to be too busy reading. 2 weeks to go in our book reviews.
Yeah.
How's that coming along?
I've
I
got
haven't
2
s-
chapters done.
I've got the prologue done.
Ooh.
But it won't take me long. It's a 250-page book. It's not
There's
going
a
to be
Time
hard.
Wars board game?
What?
Doctor Who, the Time Wars board game.
Oh, I finished Odd Thomas this week. That's what else I did.
How was it?
It was good. I
It
liked
was
it.
really good, wasn't it?
The ending. Oh, God. My heart.
The ending. Oh, the feels.
Oh, the feels. As I tweeted out. Oh, God, the feels. All right, anyways, feedback. Mark writes, thoughts, chewing gum, and cement. I have no idea what that subject line was about. But anyway, guys, I just got home after a long, hard day, and this photo was uploaded to Twitter, see attached, along with the tagline saying that Matt will be donning a wig for the Christmas special. And it's got me thinking. I honestly believe that Matt Smith will be regenerating in the 50th anniversary, and the BBC are lying about Matt being in the Christmas special to deliver the viewers the first surprise regeneration since 1963. It's what I would do if I was showrunner, and so far Moffat has put into practice almost all the ideas that Alex and I came up with Doctor Who Reincarnated. So I'm placing $1 that will lose 11 in November and see Capaldi at Christmas. There might even be some set photos that they've set up involving Matt, like they did to mislead journalists for filming of Sherlock Series 3. Any thoughts, guys? By the way, I hope you guys had a nice summer. My summer is now over, and I have an incomplete 60,000-word novel on my hands. Ah, well. Till next time, guys, Mark Lee. And we'll include the picture in the show notes, yeah?
Sure.
That he included in the email.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No. As much as I absolutely would love that, I think that's fantastic.
Oh, you're
I
trying
think
to get
that
rid of
would
Matt
be
sooner now.
No, I think that's he needs to go out on the 50th. I've always said that would be. I have too. I have always said it would.
I know I have
if
said
BBC did it right, they would regenerate him on the 50th. You go back through all the shows, you find out if they were doing it the right way, they would regenerate him on the 50th anniversary. That's perfect. It's fantastic.
No. You were the one that specifically said that was a bad idea because they're already getting the hype over the 50th anniversary. And
Never
that they
said
should
that.
wait until Christmas to do
No,
it.
never said
Yes.
that.
Yes, you did.
But I don't think it will happen. I absolutely don't think it will happen. I think we will go to the 5th, or to the 5th, to the 12th on the Christmas episode. Now, again, I think the coolest idea in the world would be to do it pre-credit sequence and then just have Capaldi do all of the rest of the Christmas special. That'd just be his first episode. That's not going to happen either. I just don't see that happening. I think they want to give Matt his swan song, and they want to give it, him a graceful out. And won't happen that way.
I really like the idea, though, knowing the way Moffat has written Christmas specials, of it being called Twelfth Night. And that would require Capaldi to be there.
Well, Capaldi's going to be
Well, he'll
there
be there.
anyway,
Just like
so
it
you
won't
can
be
still
till the
call
end.
it 12th
It
night.
wouldn't be the same.
But
It's like the 11th
he'll
hour.
regenerate at the end, like
10 did its 11?
yes, 10 did to 11.
Yeah,
at
see,
the
that
end
doesn't,
of
it's like the
5.
11th hour if David Tennant was in it, except for the last 10 minutes.
Ah,
It just doesn't work.
well, Mark, I think it's a great idea. I think they should have him regenerate at the end of the 50th. But
Place your bets, kids. Place your bets.
you don't remember
I'm-
back in the
I'm
day
intrigued
when he
to-
kept saying there were all those rumors flying and about Matt Smith leaving.
I kept
after
saying that
this
he's
year.
probably going to leave in
And
the 50th.
I said that the 50th would be the way to go. I've always said that. I said it's the 50th
never
anniversary
released it.
I
special.
remember you saying it, that he'll leave in the 50th. And I remember you saying, no,
you had
that
a
would...
stroke. You don't remember yesterday.
In fact, I'm pretty sure that was about the same time we were discussing when Doctor Who was going to come back, whether or not it was going to be Easter Sunday.
I didn't
Or
say
Easter
that it was.
Saturday.
I didn't say it was going to happen. I
And
just
you
said
were
it
very
would
much,
be-
no, he wouldn't come back. And I'm somebody who's mainlining is going to get to
Rachel.
that. Rachel,
We'll
when you
catch
get
up.
to that, let us know
Prove
what
me
he
right,
actually
Rachel,
said.
prove
Because I'm too
me
lazy to
right.
actually go back and look. I'd rather just argue with him about it. But who's next?
Speaking of Rachel, she's next.
Speaking of Rachel. Okay, Rachel writes, feedback submitted. Hello, Vortex gang. Rachel here with just a little bit of feedback. Again, thanks to everyone who helped with our Halloween project. I've got lots of ideas, and I can't wait to share the completed project with all of you once Halloween rolls around. Sorry, no spoilers for now. Sean, I completely understand your complaints from working Labor Day weekend. I just got out of working retail after almost 15 years, and I don't miss it one bit. Especially the roaming shoppers who seem to have no sense of time. My favorite is when they'd finally come up to the register after closing time with the lights partially turned off, and they'd ask, "What time do we close?" Facepalm. To answer someone's question, I think it was Sean, the screening of the Doctor Who movie was done by the people who own Who North America here in Indianapolis. Their shop is open to the public once a month. Otherwise, it's by appointment only.
Wow.
And then twice a month, they do Doctor Who-related screenings. I'll include links to both their website and their Facebook page, so if anyone listening finds themselves near Indianapolis, they can check them out further. I watched The Eighth Doctor Revisited earlier this week, and while I enjoyed it, I was confused that Paul McGann wasn't involved. Someone on Facebook said that he was involved in other commitments, but I would think that if he couldn't come to them, the BBC would go to him. I guess having Sylvester McCoy was better than nothing. And I'm not surprised that Eric Roberts wasn't included. Maybe I'm just picky, but it surprised me to not see McGann. Well, that's all I have for this week. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make Friday Night Who this week, as I'm going on a short vacation to my husband's family's lake cabin, and will not have any internet. But as I'm not done mainlining the show, we'll have plenty of Traveling the Vortex to listen to on the 6-hour car ride up and back.
Your poor husband.
Rachel. That poor man. As always, thank you, Rachel. And yes, we will include the show notes, the link to
Who North America?
Who North America?
Who North America, Indianapolis. And just to clarify, yeah, I don't want to. I kind of thought about this on the way over here. I don't want anybody to think that I don't enjoy my job, because I do. I really, really do. I enjoy what I do. But yeah, sometimes the retail.
No, you don't.
beast-
You've said in the past that you don't.
No, I do.
No, you've always said, "No, I hate my job. Can't stand it."
I was talking about this one. Stupid
No,
podcast.
I'm sure. A few weeks ago, you said, "Oh, I hate this job." So,
Were these all used?
no, I haven't.
You had all those already,
No, I didn't have any of those.
So I
I
can't
had
use these.
the one.
so you can't use them now.
No, I'm sorry. I got mixed up again. There. These ones.
Those
you
ones
can't
were.
use.
Okay.
Oy vey. Anyway, so yeah, the retail beast is what it is. So I'm glad you're out. Who's next?
Next up is Brenda. Right?
Yes.
I'm almost there.
Oh.
Do, 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 do.
Really, after the open we had, I hope nobody has expectations for this episode.
All right, Brenda
I
writes,
really think we should start over.
missed opportunities, stalking, and bedroom communities. Dear Vortex gang, I'm weighing in this week with a brief review of the 8th Doctor Revisited special from BBC America. meh. I can understand that Eric Roberts wouldn't be a part of it unless they paid him $1 million and guaranteed reverential adoration at all times.
And got to dress for the occasion.
Though I would have wished that he would weigh in on what it was like to be an American to come into this British institution. But to do an Eighth Doctor Revisited and not have Paul McGann? Totally unacceptable. I don't care if there were scheduling problems or any other difficulties. They should have waited until he was available or do whatever was required to make it happen.
Hear, hear.
It's not like McGann is removed from the world of Who like Eccleston is. He does Big Finish stories and he appears at conventions, so he obviously has a place in his heart for Who. With only 90 minutes of on-screen footage to talk about, his absence was deeply felt. The two companions and the other guests went around in circles saying the same things over and over. Paul is a nice guy. He's a good actor. He's a good kisser. He was a bridge between classic Who and new Who. No mention of the half-human storyline. No mention of the Master's convoluted backstory that seemed to have been ignored in the reboot. No mention of what it felt like to have an American company delving into Who. No behind-the-scenes insights. Just a load of missed opportunities. To quote Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that. I do want to assure Sean that I'm not stalking you guys to get your snail mail addresses. When I was going to mail a copy of the earlier Doctor Revisited specials, both you and Keith gave me your addresses.
Oh.
When I mailed the UK goodies to you, Collins came before Miles in my address book. Thus, you became my distribution center. I'll spread the wealth and send some future things to Keith just to keep it equitable.
Don't feel like you have to.
We're giving you a hard time.
That just means I get first dibs on anything in the box. I don't know, guys. That's all she sent.
Oh, and on another note about Powder Springs, where I actually live, and Atlanta. The actual city of Atlanta has a population of about 450,000, whereas the metropolitan area covers 29 counties and has a population of 5.5 million. We have many bedroom communities in the metro area since housing is so expensive in actual Atlanta, so I, like many others, live in the suburbs while most of my activities are in the city. It makes for awful commutes, but after living here for 23 years, I'm pretty accustomed to it. I'll have more feedback next week when you delve deeper into the Eighth Doctor era. Thanks to a friend, I was given a copy of the movie several months ago, so I am uncharacteristically informed enough to make observations. Actually, from here on, I will have seen all episodes, so I can begin to weigh in with informed opinions. Until then, I have lots of Salt Lake updates to hear, as well as the next podcast episode. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Brenda in Metro Atlanta.
Must have been writing that at work.
Oh, Metro Atlanta includes... You did, yeah. Are you paying attention?
What?
What am I doing? Who are you guys?
What am I doing here?
Up next, Chrissy. Dear Vortex Boys, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me send in the side trips about Salt Lake Comic Con. I had a blast doing it, and it was fun to be able to share my convention experience with you guys and my fellow Vortex listeners. It was my first time going to a huge Comic Con like this, and there was a lot to learn, but it was so much fun. And I realized I didn't talk a whole lot about Doctor Who related stuff compared to everything else that was going on, but I figured that we're all fans of lots of different things, so hopefully there was something to interest everybody. And if anyone out there has a complaint about me sending in reports, I can only say it was Glenn's idea.
That's true.
I go the opposite way. I say if anybody has anything they ever want to send in to us, send it in. There's conventions going on all over the world. We've got listeners all over the world. Send it in.
Send it in. We'll do it.
That is an open invitation to anybody, because we love cons, we love con reports, and we love Wrath of Con. And if you have anything to chime in, please send us audio. If you don't have enough to cover, several short side trips, we'll put one big one in the show, or we'll just do one big side trip. Or Chrissy's were concise and fantastic and had lots of information, so I opted to make them side trips, and I think that went just swimmingly because we were able to post everything at least the next morning after the night that you recorded it. So you were getting basically the day before the day that you were actually on, if you were listening to them in that order. So, and I tried to do that, get those up as soon as possible, so people could kind of lived the con along with Chris.
Which I've listened to all of them but the last one. And I thought they were very enjoyable. I haven't listened to the Shatner Day yet.
And she doesn't talk about it in the audio, but I caught it on her Twitter stream that every time that she put Shatner in on a tweet, it would capitalize like every letter in Shatner. So that's why it actually in the heading of that says Shatner Day, because it's and Shatner is all in all caps. So I thought that was funny that her phone, and so she just kept going along with it. She was like, "Well, that's what it's going to be." So.
It's like Brian Blessed. You can't just type Brian Blessed. You have to capitalize Brian Blessed,
and then you have to put dive right after.
Yes.
You haven't listened to them, right?
I have not listened to them yet. I haven't had a chance. They are on my
The bumper
list
is
for tomorrow.
fantastic.
Yeah,
She did a
terrific bumper.
really good
Thank
job
you
with the
so
bumper.
much.
We got a
for getting-
bumper?
We got another
bumper.
bumper. Yeah. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Simon Fisher-Becker.
He says
He's friend of the
I'm
show.
friend of the show,
Simon Fisher-Becker.
Actually, I think he puts an A in there, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
a friend of the show. Simon
Yeah.
Fisher.
Oh, and I can't wait to listen to them.
That's what she said. She tweeted me the other night. She said, "Is there anything you want from Planet Comic Con bumpers or anything like that?" And then she said, "Of course, I guess you probably have Simon Fisher-Becker." And so I tweeted her back and said, "Well, a new one would be nice." And then I texted or I tweeted, "Maybe friend of the show, Simon Fisher," have him say friend of the show. And so that's what she did. So it was
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen.
But yeah, we've been kind of tweeting back and forth all weekend, just kind of communicating about these audios and whatnot. So it sounds like she's having fun.
Well, it's because you're the
Or had
technical.
fun.
It's because you're the technical guru.
Well, He's
He's the one
I
that
kind of
posts
took
it.
the charge because I'm the one that edits and posts. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I didn't check with you guys see if we could do it. I just took the
No,
initiative.
do it. It's great.
I knew you guys would be fine with it. So
You'll be hearing from my lawyers later.
She continues. Before I went to Comic-Con, I finally did get to watch Flash Gordon. Woot! Sweet ham and cheese sandwiches. I haven't seen a movie filled with so much camp since Napoleon Dynamite. I laughed my butt off through that whole thing. And you know your movie is over the top when Brian Blessed is just one more face in the crowd. And I think that's what endeared it to me the most. The movie knows it's campy and cheesy. It's not trying to be anything else, and it doesn't expect the audience to take it too seriously. So it was sufficiently entertaining. Not sure if I want to buy the DVD for myself, still trying to save for Galley and trying to be picky about the things I spend my money on. But I did ask the people in the central buying department of my library system to purchase a few copies. I had to borrow my copy from the other library system I live in because the one I work for doesn't have it. If I have anything negative to say about this movie, is that Flash is a bit too pretty. Chrissy, I take offense of you comparing Flash Gordon to Napoleon Dynamite.
they are both campy, but
I'm glad you enjoyed
camp
it.
in a different way.
Very different way. I think for her birthday, we all need to pull together and send her a copy of the movie.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good idea.
She continues with, okay, 8th Doctor month. Let's go! The 8th Doctor Revisited. The funniest line in the special wasn't even about the 8th Doctor. It was the segment where they talked about how the 7th Doctor was killed, and Sylvester McCoy comes on and says, yes, it was really quite violent, because it was set in San Francisco. Is San Francisco a really violent place? I guess every city has its rougher areas, but that was kind of a funny remark.
I thought the same thing because I thought city of love and peace and hate Ashbury and hippies and probably the largest gay movement in America
LGBT
and yeah,
community
exactly
and, yeah.
LGBT movement.
Well, to be
It doesn't
fair,
scream violence to me. And
it
she's
was
right.
the 90s.
Every place has its rough areas, but I think
It seems like all of
It
America.
seems to me Topeka is probably more violent than San Francisco.
I don't know. It seems like that time in the 90s, every place was presented as that violent.
Well, I think it might also be, and I don't want to paint a broad picture, but I think a lot of people in the UK, anywhere in
It
America,
really-
is a violent place compared to Europe. So
The tone of the entire movie screams New York more than San Francisco to me.
it really
still.
kind of does. It really kind of does.
She continues with, this was a pretty good special considering they didn't have a whole lot to talk about. Obviously, they're just sticking to TV stories. Nick Briggs did look like he wanted to talk about Big Finish, but there was probably something about license rights or whatever that kept him from doing so. I
think that's more so probably you start to alienate people that you're trying to introduce to the Doctor in the first place when you
That's a good
when you
point.
bridge off into audio that's completely secondary to the show. So
It'd be like launching into novels.
exactly,
Yeah.
and you get really far off topic if you try to do that. And I think that's probably why they railed Nick in.
And that's why we cover it.
That's right.
That's right. I did like that they explained that the Master could take over other people's bodies because he was out of regeneration, so Stephen Moffat sounded like he wasn't that thrilled about the idea initially.
I got that impression.
He made some comments in an offhand way that sounded a bit sarcastic. Can't remember what it was, but I just remember thinking that was out of character for Moffat to say something like that in one of these specials. I like that they interviewed Daphne Ashbrook and Yi Ji So. Very interesting that they counted Chang Li as both companion and a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're stretching for time. Of course, they're going to talk about the kiss, and Daphne was fantastic when she was talking about that whole scene. But watching the scene where the doctors remembered Gallifrey, I was reminded just how awesome that moment is. I think that every time I see it in the movie, but seeing it on its own struck me in a different way. We've all talked about how it feels like there are so many other stories waiting to be told for these characters, and that was just another example of what could have been. I'm glad that they talked about the movie being a bridge between classic series and New Who, because it's exactly what it is. It wasn't intended to be that, obviously, but that's what it's become. Kind of funny that Moffat called it an American sequel to a British show, but whatever works. I do wish they would have interviewed Paul McGann for this special. Maybe he was too busy filming a surprise cameo for the 50th? One can dream. Terra Firma. I almost reviewed this story when I was covering the 8th Doctor for my Librarian in the TARDIS 50th anniversary blogging project, but then I listened to it and I didn't have a clue what was going on. I opted to review Invaders from Mars instead. So this is the second time I've listened to this one in the last 4 weeks or so, and I was able to enjoy it a lot more. When the Doctor, Charlie, and Chris come out of the Divergent Universe, how better to truly know they are back on Earth than to have them run into the Daleks. There are a lot of strange goings-on in this story, but they do get explained by the end of the story, which is a refreshing change from what has been going on in the Divergent Universe stories. Is this the best Big Finish story ever? Not exactly, but it's still pretty enjoyable. I think it's enough out of me for 1 week, considering how much you've heard from me, so I'm going to sign off and let you three get on with the show. Bye-bye, Chrissy. P.S. Just looking over blog postings for my side trips, I'm glad that Glenn finds my blog ever entertaining. I'm not sure what to think about that comment, smiley face. He only meant it as a compliment.
Yes, I did.
Next up, Holly.
Sorry, getting here. Holly writes, Terra Firma and 8th Doctor Retrospective. Hey guys, Chrissy. Enjoyed your side trip preview of the Salt Lake City Comic Con. Fangirl away. Looking forward to hearing about how the con went. I've enjoyed the pictures that you've shared so far on Facebook. On to reviews. Terra Firma. This is quite the interesting audio. Lots of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Great interactions between Kariz, Charlie, and the Doctor. Gemma and Samson were interesting characters as well. I did not see it coming that Gemma was a Dalek in disguise, and wanting to use Kariz as the new body of Davros. Davros flipping back and forth between lucid and not-so-lucid reminded me a bit of Dalek Khan from Series 4 two-parter finale. I enjoyed it for the most part, but the ending has me just a touch confused as to who is speaking. If it's still Kariz, or if it's an alternate universe Kariz, or if it was Samson, or even the fall version of Davros. 8th Doctor Retrospective. I enjoyed the 8th Doctor Retrospective. Was so glad not to see Eric Roberts. It was nice to see Daphne Ashbrook and Yi So talk about their parts in the movie. Too bad they couldn't have interviewed Paul McGann. It was very nice that they all said at the end of the retrospective that the 8th Doctor was a bridge from classic Who to the current version of New Who. I'll wrap this up here, looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Terra Firma and the 8th Doctor retrospective, and everyone else's thoughts. Holly from Wisconsin. Thank you, Holly.
Yep.
And that's it for feedback.
Cool. All right, well, let's move on to our reviews.
Which we didn't discuss this beforehand. What do we want to do first?
Terra Firma's first.
Terra Firma.
Terra Firma's first.
Okay.
All right.
Because we're going to bag on the...
So we're going to end on a down note, huh?
Yeah, probably. No, we end on the schedule, which is an up notes.
Okay. Welcome back, Doctor. Centuries ago, on the war-torn planet Skaro, a great scientist created the most evil creatures in the universe would ever know. Daleks. It was at their genesis that the scientist Davros first met and was defeated by the Doctor. Over the years and through space, they fought. It was a fight that ended with the Doctor's destruction of Skaro and the Daleks. Except Davros survived, alone, in the dark, with only thoughts of revenge keeping him alive. The Doctor is back. Davros is waiting. Their destiny is now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Really?
Yeah.
I give the first half of this. Dun, dun, dun! And I give the rest of it,
Really?
Yeah, it goes it travels way downhill from there. It's got these fantastic revelations. It's got these fantastic returns because obviously Davros is there, and I recognize Davros right away. Whoever's doing Davros, it's obviously
pretty sure it's still him.
It's not Terry Malloy, but
It was.
it was Terry Malloy. Then it was fantastic
Totally
as far as that because I heard that and I went, oh my gosh, that is so Davros. Even before they revealed it was Davros, I knew it was Davros, and I hadn't heard this one before, and. So I was excited about that. I was so excited about the vial thing when he brings up the vial that he actually has one now, and that the doctor basically planted the idea. That's so cool. The doctor's conversation actually with him created the idea. So that was cool. I love the fact that Davros has been basically in the wilderness since Skaro was destroyed, and he basically ran. And I love the fact that he's still, he's gone back and he's created this new breed of Daleks, and he's having this mental struggle within himself, and he's become this schizophrenic character, and it's so great. And then they go so far as to go, we discover these companions that the Doctor had traveled with before. These companions that were pre-Charlie and post Yiji and
Daphne.
Yeah, Grace. I couldn't think of her name in the movie.
Yiji was the actor.
You're right. Chan. And
that's why I went with Grace.
Oh yeah, I got it. Anyway, but we've got these great forgotten characters, and I'm thinking, oh, this could be really interesting. And then everything just kind of pops along. Oh, there's a resistance. Oh, the Daleks are resistance. Oh, we don't really delve into the story behind. I mean, we do that. First of all, we recap the history of the companions in the same way that we just did this really cool telling of a story where each character is telling a piece of the story. We did in the last, I can't remember what the last one was called, the end of the Divergent series. And then we turn around, we do it again, and I really liked it because it was original and unique and very well done. In the last one,
I kind of want to hear some of those stories now.
This one, it's like, okay, we've been there, done that, so this isn't as interesting, but okay, I'm going with it. And we kind of we kind of explain a little bit about what happened, but then we don't go. It's like Caris is captured and put into the Emperor Dalek, and he's going to be the next Emperor, and then suddenly he's fine. And he's out.
I did not like that.
The Doctor goes off and makes these negotiations out of the story and comes back, and there's this big reveal that, oh, well, I've talked him into going off-world as long as they get to continue to have you as Emperor. It was just boom, boom, boom. We're just throwing this all together and wrapping it up too quick, and that was unacceptable. I mean, they had such this great story and this plot going, and then it was like they got halfway through this and said, wow, we've just got way too much material here, and they went cut, and just it really felt choppy and rushed at the end, and that was a huge disappointment because it was built up and it was going so well and I loved it, and then it just went it just completely nosedived at the end, and that's why I give it half and half, because I was really excited about it when I started it, and by the end I was like, there was so much potential. They could have gone so much further with it, and they really just rushed it. We got no real explanation for how what's-her-name died. Gemma. We have no explanation for that. Now, if they revisit that later, okay, fine. Maybe I can forgive this one a little bit more. But we're just told that she's dead. We don't. That doesn't happen within the story that we're hearing. It's said later. Chris says it later. So, number one, not only do we not know how he goes from becoming on the road to being the Emperor to suddenly being fine, because the Doctor made negotiations with the Daleks off story. And
I don't have a problem with that happening off story just because you needed to be.
But we have no idea what happened.
You needed to be in Davros' shoes when that surprise shoe was dropped.
But there's just this chunk of story that feels missing.
That I'll agree with. Yeah, you kind of talked me into it. Maybe I need to back off on my done it up.
The first part is.
The first part is great.
Fascinating.
The first two parts, yes. I think, even.
Well, I agreed.
Even the first two parts.
I would even go into three
is where it
because then
starts.
you start.
The problem with 3 is that's where the resistance starts to kick in. Where it's revealed that they're not just these people that have been, partying and don't care about the Daleks. Okay, great idea. But then this resistance is just like, okay, rah, here we go. And there's there's nothing to resist because, okay, the other resistance are Daleks as well. So there's no fight, there's no battle.
It felt like a lot of retreading from the...
Yeah, it's... And I'll tell you another piece of it that's very retread from past stories. It's the people started going missing in this little complex of people, and it's just because they're trying to find the next Emperor and they can't because they're all humans and they're not adaptable and whatnot. Boring. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
we've been there, done that. We've tried. We've tried to use humans before in order to, in fact, successfully create new Daleks, but.
That wears snazzy shoots.
If it didn't fall down halfway through this, it would have been a great story.
One thing that I didn't think was very
I love
clear.
Daleks and Davros.
Is this supposed to be taking place during the Dalek occupation, or is this a separate time?
This is a separate time.
Completely separate. Came in, knocked everybody out.
Wow.
Completely separate time. Well, in fact, everybody's gone except for this one little pocket of humans.
See, that's what makes me wonder if it was like near the end of the occupation.
No, because they were driven off. They were driven off.
See, I don't ever really remember the resolution of...
Well, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about Daleks' invasion?
Yeah.
Oh, no, there was lots of people still left from that one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And
well, Susan settled down with one of them.
Well, yeah, I knew that.
There was a lot of resistance. In this one, I get the impression that there's just a handful of people. And there's a reason why there's a handful of people.
Because Davros turned them all into Daleks,
yeah, they need them. So. But anyway.
You've convinced me. Darn.
I'm sorry.
I really liked it up until you
wanted
talked
it
to
to be
you. Thanks,
good.
Glenn.
I really wanted it to be good. Much better. If they hadn't felt like they left big chunks of the story out at the end and just rushed it ahead, it would have been so much better. But
I'm looking on the TARDIS wiki. I'm kind of disappointed that they don't go and they haven't done some adventures with Samson and Gemma.
Yeah,
I think they would be great companions to listen to.
It'd be fine.
And a new dynamic they seem to have with the Doctor was rather fresh, I thought.
Well, that's
I don't like the idea they were brother and sister.
That's another thing that I thought was cool. Why not?
No, I like.
I don't like.
I thought you said don't too.
No, I do like that.
I do too.
That gave them an interesting.
And I really felt like they were starting to develop them as characters, and then that kind of drops off. I wanted to know more about Gemma. She was this very strong female character, and I think part of it was based on what they had experienced, is why she became what she was.
Yeah.
But they don't let you know that enough. They just make you assume that, and then suddenly she's gone. She's dead, and we don't get to learn anything more about her. And same thing with what the guy's name was
Samson.
Yeah, we're learning little pieces about him based on his. The idea would have been to keep Gemma and Chris together longer, so that we could have learned more about her character through their relationship. And the same thing with Samford and Charlie.
Samson.
If we'd had Samson and Charlie, it's Samford and Son. Samson and Charlie, if we had been able to keep them together for a little bit longer and have these little offshoot stories going on and learning more about these characters as we went, this would have been so much better. You could have grown those characters. I could have learned more about them. It would, at the point that we get to, it's like, ooh, yay, we got companions that we don't know anything about. We're going to learn something. We're going to find something out. This is great. This is exciting. what was the point of them being there? Because now we've just basically ended their stories too soon.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it was just too many balls in the air because it
I
seemed
think
like
that is.
Could have been.
as it was rolling and getting these revelations that okay, we've got Davros and we're going to find out, and we're directly talking about the events of Remembrance of the Daleks, the destruction of Skaro, and it's like, ooh, yeah, go. And then we drop the Genesis bomb with, look, I actually created the vial and I have it. And it's like, ooh, go. And the companions are off doing something else. I don't care. Oh, but wait, no, because here's another bomb, because those other companions actually happen to be companions. Ooh! And there were so many, even the end of the third part.
They just kept heaping it on us higher and higher, and it was getting so good.
Even the third part, where we're going to contact the Resistance, which I agree, the Resistance kind of was like, of course there's a Resistance.
Well,
yeah,
there
of
always
course there's
is.
a Resistance. Okay. This is where we're going to bog down for about 20 minutes.
Audio to indicate as much.
But when, we're going to contact the Resistance, and it's other Daleks, and just like, oh. It's like, ooh! I mean, that was even... Yeah, and then the fourth part just
when they contacted the other Resistance and it ended up being Daleks, my initial thought was, oh, they were playing as Resistance and they aren't actually.
Yeah, I actually thought the same thing.
And I think they should have gone that direction instead of having them be another faction of Resistance.
They're not.
We don't need a third.
They're actually in with the Daleks, is what I thought.
They actually are the Daleks, or they are a part with Davros, and that's what I think that's what they should have done.
Yeah.
Because I think all the balls were in the air that were fine, but throwing that one on top of it is what made it fall down.
Well, then it's
and then it just the juggling stops, and it's
now I have to pick everything up.
Then it's Then it's all resolved really, really way too easily at the end, because then Davros is like, "Okay, I'll be the Emperor."
He was so
what. You were so adamant about being transferred to this clone that you have created that we didn't do much with either. and
I
because you wanted to be yourself again, and you didn't want, you wanted your own personality again, you wanted your own, being again,
and the idea of him going out into the universe and being not evil.
And if you're not our Emperor, we'll kill you. What?
One thing I really liked about this story was...
Didn't you want to die anyway? You would rather... You said you would choose death over remaining the way you are, and then they say, you will kill you or you'll be our Emperor, and you go, okay, I'll be the Emperor. Come on!
One thing I really liked, which has always been my kind of complaint about Daleks, is their incentives of do this or we'll exterminate you. And I like the fact that Kariz spoke up and was like, then kill me. And then they turned it on attacking Gemma.
Yeah.
Forcing... I really liked how that all
I
played
did
out.
Too. I have to admit I saw it coming.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
I can't think of many other instances where they do that.
No. I don't think they have. But, but it's been done before, not with the Daleks, but it's been done before with Cybermen.
Yeah, it's done before, but...
I say, well, the Doctor says, in Earthshock, I think it was, where he's saying, well, fine, kill me, and then they turn on the companion and say, well, what he acts as though he doesn't care, or that emotion's not a weakness.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so I just, whatever.
How can I'm really bummed now.
By the way, this would have been a great open. There was a really great line where Charlie's saying, I think we're meant to be screaming and perhaps proclaiming Daleks all along. I should have realized it. The Doctor says, Charlie, you stole my line. Daleks all along.
You really sucked the wind out of my sails with this.
I'm sorry.
I was all kinds of...
I shouldn't have started.
Well... No, that's fine. I can't find a way out of it. You're right. The last part sucked. It
ruins the first part of it, just in the sense that there are these triumphs in the beginning, but these triumphs should have had this wonderful finale. This wonderful reason for these triumphs, and it falls down and doesn't give you any satisfaction.
It's like Best of Both Worlds from Star Trek, where part one is so good, and then it's like, how do you top that? You don't. You kind of come up with a lackluster resolution, and you just deal with it. So
it was a wonderful concept. It was a wonderful start.
Terry Malloy was phenomenal.
I didn't realize it was really Terry Malloy. That's fantastic. It sounded exactly like him. I should have known.
I was a little worried when we first started it that we needed like the Davros Big Finish before this, so once we got further into it, I realized, oh no, I'm not missing anything.
That's later down the line, isn't it?
It's earlier.
It is earlier?
Yeah.
But it's a Sixth Doctor story.
It's a Sixth Doctor
Right.
story.
I knew that.
So
because
we
the Fifth Doctor
okay.
is Omega, the Sixth Doctor is Davros, and the Seventh Doctor is the Master, right?
Yes.
Because it's like there's a three
a trilogy
symbol. Well, yeah. I mean, they're not really linked,
Yeah, but
I don't know. Listening to Davros talk about his experiences, it was very Dalek Con. That's what I thought of. And I thought to myself that I'll bet money that Russell borrowed parts
well, he
of the
didn't write
idea.
that. The guy that wrote that was the guy that wrote Jubilee, which is essentially oh no, I'm sorry, he did write that one. I was for some reason I went to Dalek. No,
Which
which is loosely based on Jubilee.
yeah, with Dalek Con going insane once it was thrown
Right,
into the
right.
once he was
I forgot
thrown into the
about
time
that. Yeah,
vortex. That's very much what felt like was going on
Well,
here.
Caitlin's halfway through season 6, by the way.
oh wow,
She is.
Yeah, she just
Could be
finished
done.
She finished Impossible Astronaut tonight. Or Good Man Goes to War tonight.
wow.
She's trucking.
Sorry, that was another. What did you do this week that I forgot again?
But yeah, him back and forth, and becoming the Emperor and not, and then struggling with it, and there were moments where I almost felt sorry for him.
Oh well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's good about this story as
Yeah.
well, is that they really make you feel almost bad for him.
And once again, McGann's Doctor is the coolest part of it for coming in and flat out saying,
I should have killed you back on Genesis.
you think you know me, but you don't. You know aspects of me, but you don't know me. And every time I've encountered you, I'm older and I'm wiser and I'm less tolerant of you. And it's just
That's
like
such a great speech.
That is nail on the head with what has come later.
Right.
With some of the later stories. And there was so much good in this.
There was a lot good. It's just the ending is the only
flubbed ending. Now that it's gaping hole, I can't drive.
They didn't nail the landing.
No, they didn't stick it.
And I
No
think
gold medal for that. Because
I'll revise what I said. I think that the first part of the third part is good. I feel that's where it starts to go down.
I can see that. Yeah.
Well, and I think I was so wrapped up because it wasn't until you said that it was like, oh yeah, how did Kariz get out of that? Because he was pretty much
I had to
I was sealed in.
I was listening while I was on my walk the other night because I was finishing up, and I listened, and I'm very attentive when I'm listening, so I was totally engrossed in the story, and then I realized I must have skipped a part. I thought my iPod skipped or my iPhone skipped ahead or something because well, how did I miss that? So when I got in the car, was on my way home, which is when I usually listen. I actually went back to almost all that I had listened to in my 20-minute walk to listen to it again to make sure that, because I thought, well, surely I missed something somewhere here. Nope, didn't. It was just gone. It wasn't in there.
I must have not noticed it because I was listening to it in the car, and I think when I stopped and picked up was probably in that gap.
Well, and
so
see,
I didn't notice it,
and that's why, because it was I came to an end point and a start point, and that's why I thought that it had just skipped ahead because I couldn't remember the opening sequence for the fourth part, but it was in there. In fact, when I went back and listened again, I went, "Oh yeah, I do remember the cliffhanger in the opening sequence." So I had thought I had forgot about it or didn't realize I had heard it, but I had. So yeah, it was.
Did anybody feel Kariz when he attacks the Dalek with his apparently bare hands? Was anybody else a little offended?
Offended?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was great. Him and Ace are the two most awesome companions ever.
it was stealing
He's
Ace's
cooler
thunder.
than Ace
no,
now.
it was stealing Ace's thunder.
I've always liked
in my
Chris. Now he's cooler than Ace.
book. No, it was stealing Ace's thunder in my
I'm
book.
glad you said that because I thought the same thing. Because I thought, Ace was awesome, and she got that moment from that. And then suddenly he's doing it with his bare hands. It was almost like they were trying to one up Ace.
Yeah,
And that's what made me mad.
It would be one thing if he were human. I don't have a problem with it because he's an alien.
Because he's an alien.
Yeah. He already has superhuman hearing. Why not? Why can't he be stronger?
What about the ending?
Well, I'll tell you what's inherently wrong about that. Is we've never gotten an indication before that he did.
This
and
is
in
the first
fact,
time
he was
maybe
throttling Charlie. And if he was in fact strong enough to have killed or to have destroyed that Dalek as easily as he did in this one, he should have killed Charlie. She should be dead now. And he didn't.
I'm still willing to bet, despite the brother-sister relationship that they've spent all of the Divergent universe setting up, that Kariz is sweet on Charlie, and possibly vice versa.
But I think that's quite possible. But that's the other thing is we started to address at the beginning of this one the fact that we've got this. You know how I hated the fact that they ended the last one the way they did because Kariz had taken such a step back that I thought no one should trust this guy anymore. It's absolutely BS that they're letting him out with and go with them into the regular universe. I hated that idea, but I thought, okay, I'll give it a chance. And they deal with it just slightly in this one, but then suddenly it's like Kariz and Charlie are best friends again. How long do we have to pretend that we don't like each other anymore? Oh, about a week. Ugh.
Well,
come on, don't drop that. If you're going to do that, if you're going to go there, don't drop that storyline.
That's one of the things that I thought was frustrating because that was one of those bits that I really enjoyed because their chemistry is so good, and they have that relationship, and it's fun. I was just all smiles through that entire opening segment. I mean, granted, it was kind of a repeat from before, but I couldn't wait to get into the story based on how well set up all that was. But what happened at the end?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean literally with Kariz, he's lying in bed and he's got all these voices in his head.
I got
of people that he's saved in quotation marks.
It's kind of a continuation of the Foundation idea of for whatever reason, which we're going to be revisiting this.
Yeah.
We're going to get an answer, but from the impression I got was because there was that Dalek in his head too, and that confused me at first. It's almost like. I don't know if it's a species or because of the religion or what it is, but it's a way to represent him carrying around the people whose lives he took with him.
But is it just?
I don't know how much
just representation.
I don't know if it's. See, I think that's something we're going to discover and find out.
Because he's an alien, he's literally got their consciousness stored in his brain.
See, I think that's something we're going to revisit, so we don't have the answer to it yet.
I was grateful for them to do that, to end it that way in the sense that, okay, we've got more planned for Kariz.
Yes.
But they're going to have... Now they have to prove to me that he's a viable story, that his storyline is viable, and that we don't just revisit what we had in the last story. Why can't I remember the name of that story?
I don't remember it either.
Well, whatever it was, the next life. If it's not just a rehash of the next life, if we don't develop his character a little more based on what this schizophrenia that's happened within inside, or these voices that he's storing, or whatever he's doing, then I'm going to be disappointed. But I was grateful that they at least said, okay, we've still got some more relevance for Kariz.
Well, because Charlie kind of sort of makes allowances for him. And I don't remember who she said it to, but she's got the one line, well, he's had a rough day. His dad died. And he left his universe. And she kind of went boom, 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 and hit all these notes that, make up for him.
And she was ready not to give him a chance just a little bit ago.
But yeah. And then so much of her time in this one was spent being kind of whiny and on the edge of collapse, which I thought was very strange. Especially since it was all centered around Kariz. That's kind of what makes me think they're maybe trying to set up a romance there. But I don't know. I just... But the Doctor was awesome.
The Doctor was awesome. I mean,
Davros was awesome.
Yeah, Davros was great.
The whole I made the virus. You remember that? And I loved his rationale for that. That was such a huge pinnacle done on a cliffhanging moment when Davros is very calmly lying. Because that's when I think Davros is scary. The megalomaniacal screaming and ranting Davros is he's not scary. When Davros is sitting there being very calculating and calm about it, I'm going to take you and do this. That's when I find him to be a true threat. And that's why I think Genesis of the Daleks works so well with Davros, because he hasn't gone over the end of
That's why the other ones aren't as strong.
Yeah, I love Davros in general. I like him whether he's screaming or not, but I think he's scarier when he's not. And so when he's very calmly explaining to the Doctor how this all worked, you gave me the idea for the virus, so I did it. You took away my homeworld, so I needed a new one. I took yours. And the Doctor initially has that kind of cavalier, there's no way you got onto Gallifrey. He's not even concerned. He's just, that's you did. No, it's not Gallifrey. You don't belong there.
You can't go there.
It's your other home. And that's when all of a sudden it was like, Clash of the Titans moment between these two. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I guess my entire Dun and Now is based on that. All the scenes in the lab are.
If there wasn't so much bad about the fourth episode, I could overlook a lot of things, but there was just way too much. Everything bad in that short span of time overshadowed everything that was good.
Yeah, you
it didn't destroy everything that was good, but it overshadowed it. So,
damn. I didn't like Harriet.
I didn't like Harriet either.
She reminded me of Hyacinth Bouquet from Keeping Up Appearance. Oh. I don't know why.
I don't know how I feel about them letting them all into the TARDIS and all that too. That when they went into the TARDIS and they wanted to,
why don't you?
I don't still know how I felt about it. They shouldn't be. I don't know if they should be there.
The last humans on Earth.
I don't care.
They're about to lead a resistance against Davros.
They want to throw a party now.
That was another thing too. Is Davros had somehow gotten on board the TARDIS. Made this link so that he could spy on the Doctor.
Fully explain all of that.
There you go.
Well,
that's the problem. Is it's great. We set up this whole. We have this link. He's been able to watch. How much has he seen? What has he seen? What he
how
obviously
long ago did this actually happen?
He obviously used it in order to bait Samson and Gemma, and basically utilize them.
No, they found him on the ship when he was rescued by the ship. The very opening of this episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Where they're going through the ship and they find the door opens and you hear him and that's the flashback part of it.
That's right. You're right.
And then I assume he takes the TARDIS key off of them because the Doctor sent them off to go explore the ship without him because he's going to read his Agatha Christie book. A little weird, but all right. And then Davros comes back with them and breaks in because he's got the key at that point. That's how I assumed he got in. But then he incapacitates the Doctor and sets all this stuff up. The Doctor never has another adventure with Gemma and Samson again.
Right.
Davros knows all about the R101, so I assume that maybe the next adventure the Doctor
he's been
goes
watching
on
since then.
At least.
Okay, so why does he have the connection? That's what I'm saying, though, is he's watching the Doctor all along, don't get me wrong. But he has baited Gemma and Samson after they go away. It's because he has control over them because he's causing them to do things so that Charlie and Cariz will react. That's what I'm saying is he has some sort of connection over.
They stayed with Davros.
Him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Doctor went off and found Charlie, and then it's not until they came back out of the Divergent Universe that he hooked back up with them. I'm not saying that
Davros was watching all of their adventures together. The Doctor's been watching since Gemma and Samson left. But he baited them, it's not even baited them, but he used them when they left the ship, when he took them with them and had that connection. But they didn't explain. I guess were they using Gemma and Samson as bait? I guess maybe is the question. Is it for the Doctor? to come back, because there really seems to be no reason for him to be utilizing these companions.
No. He nabbed them off the ship.
Yes.
He went back into the ship. He rigged everything up to spy on the Doctor.
Right.
Kept the companions. Sent
Yes.
the Doctor off. The Doctor goes, picks up Charlie.
Right.
Has all of those adventures.
Right.
Goes in the alternate
Davros
universe.
gets to watch all that.
Meanwhile, Davros and the two companions go to Earth, or maybe he went to Earth while he still had control
I got
of
the
TARDIS.
impression they were on Earth, but
Well, whatever.
Well, that's not where they picked up.
Yeah, no, because they landed on the ship.
Oh,
The ship-
right,
the
right.
ship
They
was
were in the
So
vortex.
maybe he uses the TARDIS to go to Earth and then sends the Doctor off, who's got his mind wiped.
Right.
So then he says the boy returned to his mother.
How he wiped his.
Well, he's a mad scientist.
Anyway.
So he sends Samson home to mom.
exactly, though they don't explain that. There's
He
a
sends
lot of
Samson
missing
home to
pieces.
mom, thinking that sister's run off, and then he sends sister. He says the girl traveled to America with the virus.
Right.
He pulled a 12 monkeys. That she's the one that unleashed the virus that wiped out all of humanity and turned them into. These are
Right.
now his pawns in order to do that.
I got that
So
much.
he's keeping them on Earth to do his dirty work.
Right.
And it's not until the Doctor gets back from the Divergent Universe, either because he was on a preset course that Davros had laid in. Yeah, you can go have fun for 3 years and come back, or however long it's been.
Right.
Or it just happenstance because the TARDIS continues to return to things that
I get all of that.
It needs to know.
I don't understand why Gemma and Samson are suddenly working with Davros, because we don't get any sort of impression that he's
No, he flat out
brainwashed
said that
them.
he took over.
That's just it. I
got the impression that they did it's kind of like the Dalek replacement on them.
See,
Especially
yeah.
Gemma.
No, it's just the Doctor's reaction of what have you done to them is enough to make you go, okay, he
did something to
He
them.
did something
Yeah,
to That's all
well,
you
that's what I'm
need.
saying
He did
is I
something
don't-
bad to them and took over their minds. He put
That
setting
wasn't all I
eels in
needed,
their
but
ears.
okay. All right,
It doesn't matter what he did to them. He's got control of
All
them
right,
now.
I'll buy that.
Just
You've sold me
to
on
go
that.
against the Doctor.
You've sold me on that. I didn't need that. I felt like that was left out. But no,
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
didn't think
You're
so,
right.
but-
You're right. I'm okay with that now. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You've sold me on that. That makes that better. That was one of my other things. I just felt like there was this missing link as to what really happened to Gemma and Samson. But you're right.
Well, the missing
it
link
is
is
sort of,
in that fourth part of
It
how did
is sort of-
Kariz get out of the Emperor
Yeah, no,
and kill
that's-
Gemma? 'Cause he
Right.
apparently, because she's in his head, so he did quote unquote save her. He killed her. It's not just that she died and she didn't make it. It's that Kariz killed Gemma at some point off camera or off screen or off mic.
She seems
See,
such
I
a
didn't get
big
that.
character.
Did you get that out of it? That he had killed her?
Not
She's in
until
his head at the end.
Now that he mentions it, yeah, she is in
Oh, that's a good point. And it was everybody that he had killed. Okay, that
Yeah.
fixes that for me. That fixes that for me. No, that
Aside
doesn't.
from
now he's talking to me and I can
Because
think it was good.
I had no
Aside from the
idea. I
explanation
had no
that-
idea how she had died. But you're right. She was
Well,
one of the ones.
we don't know.
Well, but I mean,
But-
at least we know that at least explains that Kariz did it.
Yeah. Well, but up until that point, he just sells it
We can
after
only assume.
she didn't make it. And it's like, what the hell happened
Well,
to you guys?
now here, if
There's
they
a
do,
whole other audio
if
adventure
they
with you
do
two.
this, where we get a flashback and find out what, because Kariz obviously they're going somewhere else with his story, and I usually don't like to do this. I think that a story needs to be self-contained, and then if you expand on it later, good job, good on you. But if they go later, because we've set this up at the end, and we go later and we explain, we find out that Kariz actually killed her. There's some concrete evidence and why and how this would be a little better, because they've at least felt that in. Maybe they'll explain how he got out of having to be Emperor Dalek, other than the Doctor showing up and convincing the Daleks that he doesn't need to be Emperor Dalek because he'll convince Davros to do it. If they fix it later, I'll be a little more forgiving on this.
Yeah, I will too. But it's yet another in a long line of why does Big Finish continue to set us up with these, and then
Right.
we're hopefully going to fix this later.
Right, exactly.
I don't like being.
It feels like
a Stephen Moffat story.
It feels like we'll do this now and we'll deal with the rest of the repercussions later.
Yeah.
It just
We'll
feels
figure it
like
out.
we'll figure it out
We'll
later.
fix it in
Yeah.
post.
I don't know.
So you honestly didn't believe that, or
I did not get that Kariz killed her. Was the one that killed her. I just suddenly she's dead, and I did like the Doctor saying, don't tell them that she was alive and she died, because they already have grieved. And I liked that. That
a
was
lot,
very
too.
cool. That was very noble, because, okay, yes, she's dead. We can't fix that.
They already think she is.
But they
There's
already
no
think
point
she
in-
is, so there's no point of bringing up the fact that, she was alive and maybe doing nefarious things. So I like that. They've already grieved. They've already been over this. It doesn't matter that she just recently died. So
Yeah.
I liked it. That was cool. The Doctor's fantastic in this. Paul McGann does a great job.
Yeah.
The Doctor is written really well. Davros is written really well. Terry Malloy does a fantastic job. It's just got a lot of little holes there at the end that need to be filled somehow or somewhere. Soap.
I'm taking that one home to Mel. So, we're moving on.
Yep.
Doctors Revisited.
Wow, it gets a stutter horn. It was that bad.
He gets it 3 times.
Why?
2.5.
Why?
Why is a very good question.
Why is there no Paul McGann in the 8th Doctor? 1, 2, and 3, I get. BBC America has a valid reason for not having those doctors in that special. There is no reason. None. Zero.
It's inexcusable, really.
There is. It's inexcusable. There is absolutely no reason that they couldn't have figured out something to shoot around his schedule. You figure that out.
And
I'm not saying that
was a camera and a green screen.
I'm not saying that as a Paul McGann fanboy. I'm not saying that as a. I'm saying that as a. You can't do that. I'm angry. I'm very angry.
Obviously, that was the biggest failing of the
Yeah.
special. I think they could have talked a little bit more about the wilderness years than they did, because they.
Well, I think that falls back on.
And the.
I think it falls back on Sean's reason why they didn't talk about the tumultuous sixth season, or
Well-
not sixth season, six Doctors era.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't step outside of what's happening. I think they adequately address the fact that, well, maybe not adequately, but I think they did a decent job of addressing the fact that, well, Doctor Who had been off the air for several years.
See, and Moffat had that line. It was American sequel to a British show, and I don't. It
I
doesn't.
get the impression from this interview that Moffat does
he's not a
care
fan
for
of it. Yeah,
the
but wasn't it him or was it the other guy?
the producer guy.
Yeah, who was talking about how I could totally believe that the Master somehow picked up that snake ability somewhere.
Chrissy talked about
I'm sorry,
Moffat.
that's not any more of a stretch than other things Doctor
No,
Who's
no,
expected
no.
us to know.
Chrissy talked about Moffat.
I like
kind
that
of,
explanation, actually.
Moffat really not really, kind of maybe sarcastically addressing that, but Moffat, I didn't get that impression from Moffat. He did kind of somewhere down the line, the Master has figured out that since he can't regenerate anymore, in order to steal bodies, he had to come up with this way to become, this snake-like entity that could just take over. And he says, do we need to know why? Probably not. He did that. And I thought that was Moffat's thing going, you know what? I just bought that. It was fun. And so I think he was it wasn't like he was saying, oh, suddenly he has this ability and we don't know where it comes from. It was more of okay, it seemed like a good reason to further the Master's story. And it seemed to me that he was okay with that.
Yeah.
But he really does make the offhanded remarks as though he's not really that big of a fan of the overall.
It just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't seem like it had the joy the other ones had.
Did it seem to you guys that after you watched it, even if you had never seen the,
You don't need to see the movie
you don't
now?
need to see the movie because
Yeah.
it really kind of just they felt like they needed something to talk about, so they just told you the story.
They talked about everything they possibly could have. Really, I mean, aside if they're not going to delve into the wilderness years or how this came to be more detailed of the partnership with 20th Century Fox and all that stuff. They talked about everything they could have.
No, because the biggest missing hole is the fact that they didn't address the half-human.
Oh yeah, they didn't talk about that.
They did not address the half-human aspect of the Doctor. I do like that they talked about the fact that suddenly the Doctor's shoes fit and everything is kind of the reveal kind of goes beyond there. He starts to regain his memory at that point, and that was really a kind of a fixed focal point and purposeful, I think, in that moment. That hey, these shoes fit great because suddenly everything's looking up now.
Oh, and they spent so much time talking about the kiss. It seemed
which
like.
is fine because
I think
that was
important
because
they spent a bit more than I think needed. Really, what I enjoyed most of this was probably because I've heard these stories before. Hearing Yiji So talk, which I haven't before.
See, I really
enjoyed listening.
When Caitlin and I set in on the
Regenerate.
Regenerate. Yiji. That was the first time I got to hear Yiji talk a lot about things that were going on at Who. So he kind of recapped some of the things he talked about on there. So I thought, but he's still even more. Yiji really has this passion for the movie at the very least.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't go into Daphne. You can tell is a fan of the series now. That this movie brought her to the series, first to the new series, and then back now into the old. She's discovering as well. Yiji, you get the impression that he really has this reverence for the film. That he really he's a champion for the movie. And you get that from the way he talks about and discusses. And maybe you got some of that from Galley a couple of years ago.
Too, yeah.
So that's really enjoyable to listen to him talk about it with such exuberance this many years later.
And that's the way he talked about it at Galley too. Was just exuberant, just overjoyed. I was a part of this, and it was cool, and everything about it is awesome. And that I think is infectious because that's kind of how I feel.
It really is. It really is.
Even though Eric Roberts is in it, it's still awesome.
I thought they tiptoed around that.
We knock Eric Roberts, but I knock Eric Roberts for his attitude beyond the film. Yeah. I think Eric Roberts is a fine master in the movie as well.
For the setup that he's given, and anybody wants to complain, he's an American master. He's an American ambulance driver. The master takes over. That's not the same.
Exactly.
And people seem to forget that.
Yeah.
And
the other producer commented on that.
He becomes very master-like when in the final showdown. So he exudes enough of the master's characteristics, even though we still have the American accent. He exudes enough of the characteristics with the flair and the panache and the dressing for the occasion. I mean, there's enough master there for me to go, yeah, that's the character. Yeah. That is the master.
Yeah, I would agree.
So,
and the other producer
you can't argue that.
No, the other producer talked about that too. That he talked about they went there with it and got to that point, but it was very much it. And then was it or Nick that said, if you're going to be the most evil person in the universe, but you're going to be the most evil version of that evil. However you phrase that. And it's like, that's pretty much the something,
Yeah, I totally agree.
How that
I totally agree.
I'm going to throw out a shame on you, BBC America, for not talking to Philip Segal.
Yeah.
I think that's the second huge gaping
missing
hole in
from this was Paul McGann first, Philip Segal second, and honest to God, I know everybody kept saying, well, I don't care that Eric Roberts wasn't in it because he's a so-and-so.
Yeah, we can't throw
I think number 3 is you should have got Eric to come in and talk about it. I don't think he probably would have. Or he needed $100 to do it.
He needed $100 an hour.
It just, I think you could have got Eric in there as well. I mean, what's he doing? I mean, Paul probably has a very busy schedule. Peter probably has a very busy schedule. What is Eric doing other than small...
Sharknado
stupid, 2. Stupid small.
He wasn't in Sharknado, was he?
No,
2.
He's going to be in the sequel.
He is going to be in the sequel.
That's what I've heard. I thought you were serious.
No, I totally made that up.
They were throwing a bunch of names around, and he was one of them. So it's not a confirmed thing or anything like that. But yeah. Well, the 2 that were in it are returning, and then they're looking for another B star in order to be in it.
So
although Eric has done some big movies now, so he feels like he's on
2
the
being Tara Reid and
Tara Reid and what's his name from
90210.
90210. Yeah, they're supposedly returning.
Well, spoilers. I guess they survived.
I thought you got that from the same article that I had read. So,
no. I was just totally making fun of Eric Roberts. Which is really sad. He was in Dark Knight. How can I make fun of anybody that was in Dark Knight?
He was in Expendables. I thought he was fantastic in the Expendables. He was great.
You're right.
He did fine in the Expendables.
You're right. He was a good bad guy. Oh, spoilers. He's a bad guy.
He is in Human Centipede 3. So he's probably busy filming that.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, let's get off that. We don't need to bag on Eric. We bag on Eric Roberts enough.
What is Paul McGann doing?
I hope lots of projects.
I hope Doctor Who.
That's the reason.
Hopefully filming the 50th.
Filming his secret cameo in the 50th. Him regenerating into John Hurt.
Did you notice? Did you notice at the end, Daphne's comment about the bridge was almost word for word what we said at Planet Comic-Con?
I didn't want to come to this with a big head. I didn't want to come to this, but that was the one moment I went, I think she got that from us. In fact, my exact thought was, I think she got that from Sean. I really did. But I was like, I don't want to.
I had a Jack Ryan moment. I turned to Mel and went, I told her to say that.
I know. I totally did that. And I thought, no, maybe I'm just making something out of this that's not there. I'm not going to bring that up tonight. I'm going to bring that up tonight. I'm glad you said that because I thought the same thing. I think she got that from Sean.
I'm big-headed enough to say it. I think she got that from us. I think the doctor, you heard it here first. The Doctor Who panel we did at Galley. I think she stole that.
I did. I sit there and I watched that and I went,
it's not stolen. It's totally given to her to say.
No, absolutely. Yeah. But I thought, I think she got that from Sean. I literally did that. I was like, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you saw that too because I thought.
The other thing I kind of wish they would have talked about was that new
Sean, how was
room.
it to be in the Eighth Doctor?
Apparently, I'm more important than Paul McGee.
Well, at least Daphne.
Felt
that you needed to be.
Oh, I'm so angry over that. What were you saying, Keith?
I think it would have been nice to have a little something talk about the new console room.
Yeah, they glazed over that altogether too.
Yeah, they didn't even discuss it at all. I mean, I understand not talking about the backup console room in 4, but this is the first time we've seen a different console room for the most part the run of the show, other than the white walls and console. It seems like they should have
it's
touched
the first
on
new
that.
desktop theme.
Yeah,
it's true.
That was another line that I liked.
Which also you can see inspires the later ones, as we've talked about,
especially the 11th Doctor's first console room.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that console room.
That was another line that I really liked in the audio adventure when she says, "Who picks up? Who dusts? Who lights the candles?"
That was good. I forgot about that.
Charlie,
I don't know.
I've never really thought about it.
Well, because you get the impression that she's surprised by the fact that it's bigger on the inside and all that, but no, it's. I
love that aspect.
I know.
Oh yeah, it's totally transcendentally transcendent.
Yeah, and she's trying to explain it, and she's no, that's not what I mean. Who picks up? Who cleans? Who lights the candles? And I could just totally visualize his TARDIS at that time.
They're everlasting candles, apparently.
Hopefully, they're better than the everlasting matches.
Well, think about it. With as many candles as were in that control room, you'd have to replace. That's all you do. He's got one person that goes around and replaces candles. Because by the time you got done, the first one's ready to burn down. You'd have to start over. It's not just relighting them; it's replacing the whole candle. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, you get a better flame stick than the one that I had at a wedding.
He uses his ever-lighting match.
Yeah, well,
that doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
That isn't really an everlighting match.
Everlasting matches.
Everlasting matches. Back to the Revisited.
I'm sorry.
That was all I really had to say about Revisited.
Yeah, I mean, going back to felt like that I had seen the entire story. The clips. They didn't show abbreviated versions of the clips. I love the movie. I can watch the movie over and over again, but I felt myself getting bored watching clips that I had already seen.
Get back to the discussion.
Because I wanted them to get back to the discussion and talk more about it. But it felt like they were making the clips super long so they could fill their and somebody said it's shorter.
It's not.
It's not shorter. It's the same length. It feels shorter because there's not enough people talking about it. There's more clips.
I cross-checked.
There's no Paul McGann.
The 6 Doctors, the shortest ones so far. It's 21 and some change. This is 22 and some change.
Yeah, they're all near 22 though. They all are.
I think 4 was closer to 25.
Oh, okay. Well, but still, I mean,
it's only minutes.
It doesn't. It doesn't feel
it's not like
super
there's a 10-minute difference.
But I can see where it feels short because of the fact that you get these big long clips of movie and you get very little dialogue in between.
And there for a little bit, I thought it took like 10 minutes to get to the first clip, which it normally doesn't. I'm like, did they not get the rights to show clips?
That's what I thought too. I thought, oh my gosh, we're not going to see any clips from the movie because they didn't get it. Oh, there's a clip. That's literally what happened. That's literally what happened.
Oh, never mind.
Did anybody notice when the brief Sylvester McCoy bit about how he landed in the gang war, blah, 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 they edited that?
Oh yeah. They edited that clip.
Oh yeah.
Instead of the like pop 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 pop, you hear the one, but you don't see it.
Yeah, and then
it's just you hear. And that's it.
And then he
falls down. Yeah,
But
they edited the shots into it. They edited the squibs popping out of his...
You did not see the impact. And
that's
I
squids,
wondered...
not squids, so don't visualize that I thought there were squids popping out of his chest. Squids,
At least the Kraken.
the special effect that causes people to look like they are being shot. They edited that part.
Because if they were anthropomorphized squids bursting out of his chest, Glenn would no longer like
as long as they're
Dr.
earthbound squids, that's fine.
Oh, well then.
So it's not aliens.
Not space
Right,
squids.
exactly. As long as they're not space squids. Or space buffalo.
Did anybody watch this on...
If he's a space buffalo, does that make him a Higgs bison?
No.
Sorry.
That's as bad as a space
I
buffalo.
think that's the Scotch talking.
Because the Higgs is smart.
and
And
important.
the space buffalo is not.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
point. Don't be a space buffalo.
Don't be a space... Did anybody watch this on ABC? Or on BBC America? When the actual
No,
movie, when it
I
aired?
did not.
Because I'd be curious to know if they edited that clip in the movie as well.
I would say no. I would
I would hope not.
I think they did it specifically for this because of the rating that it receives. Because it's on American television and it has to get a rating from a rating board. I think they probably edited that clip based on the rating they were trying to achieve for this specific special.
Because I
think then when the movie played, it got a different rating.
a separate rating.
Yeah.
It got a separate rating and was able to use that clip
I don't
because they didn't.
potentially think that's a overly violent clip.
Oh,
The way that it's done.
It's
It was
pretty
fine
tasteful.
for 96
It
TV.
makes
Yeah.
it's not gratuitous because it's appropriate because
Yeah.
it there's a reason for that violence there.
I mean,
There's a
now we
reason
have
for why it
cows
happens.
being cut in half on television. I'm seeing what the problem
Well, again, I think that the thing
that was
is
cool.
that we're dealing with two separate ratings. We're
Yes, that's
dealing
true.
with a rating that we're trying to get for that's more acceptable to all audiences.
Yeah,
for
it's
the
not as high,
revisited,
yeah.
and then we're
I
trying to
agree.
then we have a
Yeah.
completely different rating for the movie. So now that being said, if somebody has seen it and it has been edited, I think we still want to know that. But I'm on the side of it probably didn't get edited in the movie.
Say that again.
If somebody has seen it on BBC America and it was indeed edited, please let us know. But I do fall on the side of the fact that not having seen it, I presume it was not edited.
Okay.
So I
Gotcha.
don't know that for certain, but I'm using an educated guess as to why it would not have been,
I got you.
or probably was not.
If anybody knows, let us know.
Yeah, let us know, certainly.
I thought it was kind of funny that at the very end, it always goes an adventure with. I thought it should have said the adventure.
The
with
Adventure.
You're right. Good point. That would have
I thought of
been
that
clever.
too. An Adventure with the Eighth Doctor.
Why did they
the
do
only one. Unfortunately,
I mean, it's too bad that they can't sideline and become and talk about the audios and how popular the the Eighth Doctor has been in the audios, and that even not only is he in the main line of Big Finish, they also spun off his own series of
And he
Big
got
Finish
a whole new
audios that
costume
ended up on
and-
BBC 5, right? They actually aired on BBC Radio.
And
yeah.
And he got his own new costume, and he's been successful in books. In fact, the Eighth Doctor books relaunched
kept the show alive to the nine.
It relaunched the novels too, because they had kind of become stagnant, and the new adventures were winding down, and the Seventh Doctor stuff was finishing up. And this kind of reinvigorated the novels that were being produced at that time, and BBC Books was able to kind of launch into their own book line.
he also revitalized the comic strip from
Yes.
Doctor Who magazine, because they were kind of in the same boat as they were winding down the Seventh Doctor adventures, and now all of a sudden they got one adventure. Boom, here it is. This is it. So now they could kind of take him and go off and do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Because they weren't hamstrung by any specific real guidelines from the standpoint of who he was traveling with or what the situation was. It was just take it and go.
Right. Yeah. Remind me too. This is this is a behind the scenes thing that I need to talk to you about. Scheduling. So remind me to do that afterwards.
Okay.
Sorry, listeners, you'll find out soon enough. But if I don't remind him now, I'll forget.
We'll forget about it. Mel asked me after it was over. She says, "Do you think?" She says, "Man, did you want it to continue? Would you have wanted more of the show?"
Emphatical,
Eighth Doctor?
yes. from
Yeah.
me.
Well, and,
Emphatic,
yeah. I mean,
yes.
if it had done well enough to be picked up and go to series, and I'm kind of torn on this one, believe it or not. Yes, absolutely. I want more Eighth Doctor and this TARDIS and this crew and this. Yeah, sure, bring it on every week. I'd have been there watching it. But the reality is, it was a science fiction show on Fox.
It would have been canceled.
It would have been screwed up and canceled. You know, they would have
aired
commissioned
it out of order.
Yeah, they would have commissioned 13 episodes. They would have shown 2 of the 4 that actually got made. And they would have shown those out of order, and then they would have canceled it.
Yeah, I would have been a little worried about it being on American television at the time.
See, I think that's unfair. Because you're absolutely right. That is what would have happened. But what really happened was an even earlier cancellation
Well,
based on that.
That's true.
I think the fairer question is, had it been successful, and had they had a successful series beyond that, because it would have been a radically different Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. Would you have liked that? Would have you been as on board? Would have you enjoyed that?
I think honestly it depends a lot on whether or not Seagal was still around. If he'd stayed on as showrunner or executive producer of the series, I don't know that it would have been as radically different as a lot of people seem to think, because he fought for all of those core British Doctor Who things to stay in the movie.
But it would have been balanced by Americanism. It really would have been.
Yeah.
They would have balanced it with Americanism. I will go on the record now and say yes, and I would have enjoyed it no matter what they would have done with it. I think it would have been good. It would have been a great series if they had at least had the same mold that they had for the movie and continued that core mold, even if they stuck with the half-human doctor idea, even if they had, gone with some of the romantic aspects of, because that was carried on later as well. But had they kept with that same format and mold that they created for the movie, and they created a series out of that, I would have been just fine with it. Now, is the series better because the way that it rebooted in 2005? Yes, it's much better than what we would have gotten. Even though I would have enjoyed that and would have been fine with the series as it went, we still got a bit. It was a blessing because we still got a better.
It was a blessing in disguise.
It really was. We got a better series. We got a better reboot than what could have been. But I would have enjoyed it. But I think it's better now for what it is. That was a long way around that question.
No, I mean it's like asking Firefly. If it had never come to be in the first place, would we be better off? Is it better to have something that you're that passionate about and love for the short time that
it's
it
better
was?
to have the short.
It is better to have the short amount.
And
Now, I think the better question is, if it hadn't been canceled and had gone on for 10 years, Firefly is kind of more of a similar question, I think, than if we never had Firefly to begin with.
I don't know about 10 years.
is Joss Whedon still there for all of it?
Yes, but as somebody
Let's put the
who's
average.
gone through 7 years of Buffy and 5 years of Angel,
Well-
it's not always peachy.
Let's be fair. Let's not say 10. Let's say 7 because
7.
that's the
That's the
average
average run,
time
yeah.
for a good series that stays on the air.
Even with for Firefly, I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I don't think Serenity would have been as good of a movie as it was had we not gotten the abbreviated run on
I would
television.
agree. We wouldn't have gotten Serenity, period.
Well,
and those
probably
stories would have
not.
been stretched
Yes,
out.
Probably
Yeah.
not. But I think that's what made Serenity so good. At least for those of us that are Firefly fans. Those of us that are browncoats. Yes, I include myself as a browncoat.
Oh, that's progression.
No.
Yeah,
I have always considered myself a browncoat. I'm not as enamored by the series as you two are, but I have always considered myself a browncoat. But that being said, I think that's what makes Serenity such a good encompassed film, is because we didn't have to stretch those stories out over an elongated season. Because I think sometimes you have a great idea when you're doing a series, and you think, well, we got to make that idea last. And sometimes that just kind of thins that plot too much. But Serenity is able to put it into this nice, cohesive, let's just get it done and get the best of the ideas we've got, because we only have so much time to do it.
That whole movie, the plot to Serenity would have been season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That would have been the
with
kind of core
filler
arc.
in the middle.
Exactly.
With filler in the middle.
And maybe even some, standalone Monster of the Week episodes.
Well, that's what I meant, filler.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you would have had all that within maybe a hint dropped here or
I
there.
think we probably would have had the river.
That was probably season 2
outline.
outline.
Season 2.
Yeah.
It was probably season 2 outline
yeah.
is what it was. Yeah.
Oh, that means. See, and I don't know if I would have wanted to continue after season 2, losing 2 characters.
I would have. I would love to seen them to go on with it. Have reverence for the
cope with
two. Well, and maybe bring on board a couple more.
Do you think season 3 would have been the war with the Alliance?
Ooh.
You know, they're doing comics
we have
now.
diverted, but you know what?
They're starting
We've
a
diverted
comic
to something better than what we saw, what we were talking about. Even though it's sad that we've lost Firefly and Serenity now too.
But it's
Come on, Josh. You did much ado about nothing. You can fund Serenity too.
He's waiting for the Avengers 2 money check.
There you go. All right, well, let's wrap this up. The worst of all of them. Unfortunately, I think they... Let me say it this way.
I'm going to be really angry if next month they have Christopher Eccleston on this special.
I would be mad, too, if they got Chris. I would be totally mad, because really I'm more forgiving
he's
of
the
the
one
fact that
that-
he would be not there because of the way he is.
The way he is, and the fact that he was probably filming Thor 2.
Oh, he's probably doing... He has a lot of projects on his
Yeah.
plate. I'll give him that.
I'm more forgiving of him not being there.
And once again, just to clarify, we're not mad at Paul.
No,
No,
not
it's
at all,
BBC
not at
America.
all.
We're mad at BBC America for not figuring out a way around
To
it.
get Paul. Now, I'm going to be a little forgiving on BBC America, not because they didn't get Paul, because that was absolutely stupid, but they did do an adequate job because they only have one story that they dealt with. I think that it was stretched out too far. I'm glad, though, that they did get Daphne. I'm glad that they did get Yiji. I'm glad that Moffat had a say in this one. I'm very glad that they brought Nick Briggs in. I mean, because the guy to
and
me,
even
every
having
time I see Nick
Sylvester
Briggs,
talk about his
yeah,
time.
and Sylvester is his time on there as well. To me, Nick Briggs, when I see Nick Briggs on something, even more, and Moffat to an extent, but because he's a showrunner and you really expect him to be there, Nick Briggs to me is the fan that is there speaking on the fan's behalf. Even though he's part of Doctor Who now, he is the fan. He is the fan that got a foot in the door. And so to see Nick Briggs talk about something, I always go, okay, here's the fan perspective. And I like that. And so I was glad to see Nick there.
And he seemed very receptive and
He
warm
did.
for it.
He did. He was warm
really,
for it.
really seemed that he liked
I think if it's not something that he absolutely liked, he obviously recognizes the importance of the film and as a bridge between the old and the new.
And the fact that, because of it, he gets to work with Paul.
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's unacceptable for Paul not being there and Philip not being there, but I think they put together the best special they could with what they had. I'll give it that.
Yeah, if you're not going to try hard enough to get Paul,
If-
you did the best with what
or-
you did get.
They did the best they could.
I'll say that. It's if I didn't know anything about
I'd rather-
Dr.
It's the worst one so far.
I'd sit somebody down and have them watch the movie before I'd have them watch the retrospective.
What was the other one? We panned
no
we
lie.
panned another one that we felt
Three.
didn't- was it three? It was because they didn't delve into.
We were pretty bad on 4 too.
Well, I think we were a little more forgiving on 4 because there
'Cause
was,
it was
so
bigger.
much to
Yeah.
have covered.
But there
and
was
I think we kind of
wasn't
forgave
4.
them
They
for
didn't
the
even
fact
talk
that-
about Romana,
They didn't talk about Ramon at
Yeah,
all.
they left Romana kind of out altogether.
which we thought was pretty unexcusable.
Agree, but we also kind of fell down on the side of there was a lot there.
yeah.
And I think we're forgiving on 8 because there's not a lot. There's not a lot there. But this, I think, still, even of being as disappointed with 3 and,
At
4.
at least 4 had Tom.
Yeah, exactly. 8's been the worst.
Yeah, well, and it's just, if I didn't know anything about Doctor Who the movie and I watched this retrospective, I don't know if I'd have the same enthusiasm for going into this
Well,
show.
I wouldn't have because I'd have gone, well, I just saw the movie in 30 minutes.
But you wouldn't know that.
You wouldn't have.
Yeah, but I'd have gotten
You would have
done
been
and gone,
disappointed
well,
and
I
been
didn't
like-
have to watch that again.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have because
It's not 85
it's
minutes.
a good movie.
It's not 85 minutes of my life I didn't get back. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think part of this...
Of all things, though, they could have made this shorter so that they could have fit the movie because the movie is obviously longer than some of the.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. The
It's 90
Aztecs would have
minutes.
been a lot longer.
Aztecs only 4 parts.
Well,
They've only shown 4 parters.
80.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. They all come in about
80 to
the
90.
90. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Do you think
So never mind. It is only. No, I forget that the movie is only 90 minutes.
it probably fits a lot better with... Because it's made for American television.
So there are commercial breaks.
There were already commercial breaks set and
Yeah,
bumped
yeah.
in, it probably fit into their programming a lot better. They didn't have to figure out a way to break it up.
That's true.
Yeah.
We don't have to figure out where to put the commercials. There's already a fade.
I wonder how they did, how they did that in the other episodes.
Yeah, now I'm kind of curious.
Did they put the commercials after each part and just have longer commercial breaks?
No, I'm sure that they broke them up. I'm sure they broke them up. They have it. They have a set schedule that they go, okay, we can only have this much of time before we have to, because they have agreements with the companies that sponsor that they're going to hit at certain times.
Oh,
so they
yeah.
have to adjust that accordingly. So it's not an exact time; it's a window of time, but they still have to
Yeah.
do that. So they're very clever. They've been doing this for
8 months now.
no.
Oh,
Television has been doing this in America for 50 plus years, so they're very clever about how they do it. They've had a lot of practice.
I just don't know that this
I'm not
one made
always
me as
convinced when I
excited
see Pulp Fiction on cable.
Well, yeah. I'll be the first to admit I've watched some movies and I went, you put a commercial break there?
Not always the best judgment.
You had a minute before you got to a place where it could have felt like an actual commercial break, but you went there? Okay. I guess.
Or 20th Century Fox on the Star Wars Special Edition Laserdisc box set because it was CAV, and they decided that right as Aldran's exploding, that's a good point to put the chapter break. So he goes, and you run out of disc. You flip it over,
Ooh, please
and
insert
hit play,
the
and
bedtime
it warms
beat.
up, and then it goes. The explosion. It's like
horrible
you
decision.
couldn't wait another.
Or
Cut it sooner.
cut it sooner.
Cut it before the explosion.
Cut it before the explosion. Make it be like a cliffhanger. What's going to happen? Is it really going to blow up? Well, I'll have to flip the disc over to find out. Maybe it missed. Maybe the blazer went on past it. Maybe Alderaan is saved.
Maybe the doctor showed up at the TARDIS and saved the whole planet. Boom. Nope. Oops.
Right in the middle. I'm flipping the disc right now.
It takes about this long.
Now it's warming up.
Did it take a long time to warm up?
Uh.
I never had a laser disc. I always went and drooled over them at the library.
And on the Laserdisc, it wouldn't have had that cool shockwave ring. Actually, I say cool shockwave ring. The only time the shockwave ring was cool was the first time it was used in Star Trek: The
Star Trek
Undiscovered
6.
Country. That was awesome. I went, wow, yeah, a shockwave. That makes sense. From that point on, every planet that explodes in a sci-fi movie has to have a dang shockwave. No, they don't. Star Trek made it cool. Just because Star Trek made it cool doesn't mean you have to copy them.
Shouldn't it, to be accurate, shouldn't it actually be a sphere shockwave and not a ring?
Yeah, that's true.
I think it comes from the source of the explosion. So when
Whatever blew up.
the laser penetrates one area, the shockwave radiates from there. So it's going to radiate 360, but only in one ring. Does that make sense? It's not going to radiate as a globe. It's
Why
going to
not?
radiate
Depends
as a
on-
ring.
Well, it depends on
I'm
if it-
trying to fix this. Don't pop my bubble.
Unless
Why
for
not?
some reason
Come on.
Okay, sure.
it bores all the way down into the center of the Earth and then explodes.
Give me some here, okay?
I'll give you that.
What's next on
You
the
won't
schedule?
believe me that I've always said that he should regenerate on the 50th. At least give me this.
I'll give you that. I don't believe you on the other.
What's coming up on the schedule?
And dogs can look up. This week, Friday Night Who, David Tennant, Counting Down, Casey Kasem. I'm not going to do the voice.
Oh, please. You do it so good.
I don't think I do it.
You
good.
do it. You do it
Good
fantastically.
job.
Hi, this is Casey Kasem, and when are we doing this? I don't know. This week on Traveling the Vortex, the Zoinks! It's Daleks
I'll
and
do a little
Manhattan.
Robin, too, while you're at it.
It's the same voice.
I know.
Holy cow, Batman. This week we're doing Daleks in Manhattan, Evolution of the Daleks with number 10, David Tennant. I don't know, it's terrible.
Do you know it's Friday the 13th?
No, you do a great Casey Kasem.
I'm sorry,
It's going to be Friday the 13th. Did you realize that?
I didn't realize that. Oh, it is, 9/13.
It's appropriate that we're doing Evolution of the Daleks. Because that's your 13 story.
It's so scary.
No, it's not that. It's your bad luck story.
My
It was bad luck that you gave Keith and I the authority to pick that one, to schedule that one.
It's the 13 out of 12 good Star Trek films.
13 out of 12 good Dalek stories.
I still think that's crap.
I don't.
Did
you hear?
I
Did you hear about
No, no,
Mr.
no.
Ortzman? What's his name? Robert Ortzman. Did you hear he threw this very angry, foul language-induced triad at Star Trek fans about being full of crap because they didn't like Into Darkness? And quote, I'm not quoting this for real because I don't know exactly what he said, but
Quote paraphrase.
I get paid to write movies for a living, so you should just go for the ride, and I stand with Simon Pegg on this one. End quote. Paraphrased.
I don't think you have to use.
I got two words for you. Screw you, pal.
That's 3 words.
Yeah.
What? Who? That's the writer.
That's the writer of Into
Is that
Darkness.
Orky?
That's. I'm sorry, Star Trek fans. That is still not as bad as Undiscovered Country, or not Undiscovered.
He was I think he was the Trekkie.
What was the
On
what
the
was,
crew
what was
writing
number
these
5?
things.
I'm totally blanking.
Frontier.
Final Frontier.
The Search for God.
It was not anywhere near as bad as The Search for God. No, I'm serious. I'm sorry. I will go to my grave saying that is the worst Star Trek film ever. Nemesis is the second worst, but we're not going to go there. We already know that we come down on that. No,
and he agrees with me.
Well, if
the one before Nemesis,
no,
is
listen.
worse.
If Wrath of Insurrection,
Yeah.
well, that's the 4th worst. But if
Generations
Nemesis
is-
had not been Wrath of Khan repeated.
it
Well,
was at least repeated.
That's why Into
cleverly.
Darkness is so bad. It's the 3rd repeat of Wrath of God. Oh my gosh! Okay, and now you've ruined Into Darkness for me.
I never
because
really thought
it took this long.
I hated Nemesis because it was Wrath of Khan all over again, and now Into Darkness is the 3rd time. Oh, I hate
I
Into
think at least
Darkness now.
Ding! He can be taught.
I thought Nemesis was
God.
at least a twist to the Wrath of Khan.
How was it?
It's not Khan. It's not some. He's a
It
clone.
is Khan. It's
not Khan.
but
It's
he's
a clone.
But he's a megalomaniac, and the story essentially goes the same way. It has to be that equal for Shatner. It has to be the equal for Kirk. It has to be the equal for Jean-Luc. That's the only way you could have done it. And then we get the death of. Excuse me, I'm going to spoil this for anybody that hasn't seen Nemesis. Turn this off now. It's the death of Data, which is the death of Spock. It all mirrors itself. It
It's
completely
mirror,
is
but
a
it's-
rewrite of Wrath of Khan.
See,
it was
the
a
difference
cheat.
is
It
it's
was
a
a
rewrite.
cheat.
The difference is it's a rewrite, not
At
a
least
remake.
Into Darkness doesn't pretend like it's another movie. They do it almost word for word, but Nemesis is a cheat. It is completely Wrath of Khan all over again. And what really sucks about it, at least we get Spock gets to come back. We don't get Data coming back. Well, we kind of do because at the end of Nemesis they do that. But
Yeah, because it's a complete rewrite of Wrath of Khan.
it is because basically what they did is they said, "Here's Wrath of Khan," with a little bit of Search for Spock at the end. Oh my gosh! Into Darkness is the 3rd time. How could I have forgotten that?
I was confused. Because you were so adamant that you liked Into
You know
Darkness.
why?
And I'm like, but you didn't like Nemesis for the same reason.
I was. Why didn't you say that? You were waiting for me to come to that to myself.
You had to come to it
Oh
on your
my
own.
gosh.
I could only lead you to water. I couldn't make
You know
you
what?
drink it.
It was just I was distracted by all the flashes,
The lens
and
flares.
explosions,
The lens
and
flares,
lens flares, and now I'm not sure I want J.J. Abrams to direct Star Wars.
You understand my concerns now.
Well,
Well, what makes it
No.
even worse was the announcement made this week. Because while I love Benedict
What announcement?
they didn't announce anything.
While I love, well,
It's rumored.
it is rumored, but it's highly educated rumors. While I love Benedict Cumberbatch, love him. I think he's fantastic. He's a terrific actor. I don't want him to do a turn after doing Star Trek, turning around and doing a Star Wars film.
Oh, he's
No.
done other stuff in between then.
No, but the big ones. The big ones.
You don't think the Fifth Estate's going to be big?
No. It'll be that Social Network Oscar film. It'll be that Oscar film. But
What do they have
No,
Just- he's in
it's
it?
rumor. It's an educated guess.
There's
no character part or anything.
There are people within the industry that are saying, yeah, it's almost dried ink on paper now. So,
But we don't know what he's playing.
no, we don't know what he's playing. No.
He could not even be a villain.
I don't care if he's a villain or not. I don't want him in Star Trek.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
He-
He was fine in Star Trek.
He'd
Even though he shouldn't have been gone either. Oh my gosh!
Oh. You know who he'd be really good as?
Clone of the Emperor, young clone of the Emperor.
Admiral
That's
Thrawn.
what they'll do.
Thrawn.
They're not doing Thrawn.
but if
they were doing
they did,
Thrawn,
if they
yeah,
painted him
okay,
blue,
all right, gotcha. I'm
he'd
sold.
be really good
I'm
as
totally
Thrawn.
sold. If they make him Thrawn, absolutely, let's bring him in. But he won't because
You know
they're
why
not
I'm
doing
not worried
that
about
story.
JJ as doing Star Trek or Star Wars?
Why?
Because he's not writing the script.
Well, here's the thing:
Yeah.
he did
He had-
a
he had-
phenomenal job with the Star Trek reboot.
Mm-hmm.
If he hadn't gone on to direct the second one, I wouldn't have so much of
I
a
don't
problem.
think the directing
But
is the problem with the second
It's
one. I
not.
think it's solely
It is the
based on the
story.
story.
No, you're absolutely
And I
right.
don't think JJ had.
But I
much-
think JJ
as
has a
much
lot of
say
the
in this.
influence in it.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I think.
I think
Oh my gosh, we've been 20 minutes talking about other things besides this because it was
besides
so
the
good.
schedule.
No, well, yeah, we're supposed to be talking about the schedule, aren't we? I forgot we'd already moved on from.
We went down the rabbit hole.
We did. We went down the rabbit hole.
And I'll invite you in on the next Star Trek side trip so that we can revisit how
I
great
can't
Into
believe.
Darkness is.
I can't believe. I can't believe that I just.
Into Darkness is a fine film. It's just not a good Star Trek movie.
How did I not?
I don't know.
How did I not?
I don't know.
You're right. I have dogged on you for years on how I don't like Nemesis because of the fact that it's a rehash of, and then I completely washed over that.
Despite the fact
Darn
that
you,
Khan's
J.J.
actually in it.
Abrams, and your flashiness and your bells and whistles and sparklies.
You got flashy thing. That's what it was. Well, so
That's what those lens flares are. They're neuralizers.
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 Men in Black. You just forgot how bad that was. You just forgot how bad that was. So, explain to me then how come I liked Nemesis, but I didn't like Into Darkness. I mean, it's not that I didn't
It's because
like
it's
it,
a different take on it. It's a rewrite and it's the same plot elements, but it's a different take on it. It's not
it's not just
rehashing the same
plot.
character.
Yeah, that's probably it.
It's rehashing the same
I
plot,
don't care
but
if
in a
it's a
different
different
way.
take on it. It's a thinly disguised Wrath of Khan. I've already
It's-
been there, done that. Let's do a new different. Let's
It's,
do a
it's
different
less
story.
thinly. It's more disguised than In the Darkness.
I'm just adding more fuel to your. That's the point.
That is exactly my point with Into Darkness is, okay, we're going to reboot the universe. We're starting something completely new. Okay, great, go. Well, we're going to bring back Khan. Why?
Okay,
Completely new.
bring back Khan, but let's go a different direction with it. No, here we are again. We're just going to flip flop the character.
Yeah. And it's
Or don't
just,
bring back Khan and just somebody else from his species, race.
No, we've already went over why that doesn't work.
No, I think that does
No,
work.
it does work.
No, go away.
No, you're wrong.
No, go
No.
away.
No, you're
We're not
wrong.
rehashing this.
That-
If you want to know why, go. If you want to know what side we come down on that, go back to our
If you
show.
want to know why I'm right,
That works because it doesn't sully Khan. It doesn't fix the problems with the fact that Kirk and Spock haven't been together long enough
No,
to
it
have this
doesn't fix
relationship that they set up in this film.
right.
That needs to happen way later. If they saved Khan for the third film, I'd have been okay with
No,
that. Maybe.
no.
I'm just saying. But anyway. So Daleks in Manhattan.
I did
Evolution
still
of the
shake
Daleks.
my heads at the right moments, though.
You did. Daleks in Manhattan.
Just last
Casey-
week, I was saying, well, yeah, I did have problems with those moments, but I didn't hate the movie overall. Now I hate the movie overall. It's a good film. It's not a good
not
Star
a
Trek
Star-
film. You're absolutely
the
right.
First 10
You're
minutes of it
absolutely
are Star
right.
Trek.
Yeah,
After that,
you're absolutely
after
right.
that, it's
Sean.
Iron Man 3.
Wow. So I changed your mind in Terra Firma. You have now changed my mind in Into Darkness. Damn.
What up?
What up? All right. I'm glad you remembered that. I'm touched.
I do it at work now. People
You
look
can
at me like
remember
I'm
that,
weird.
but you can't remember that I said that he should regenerate at 15. Rachel, back me up, please.
So then our show next week is going to be the Big Finish, Destiny of the Doctor 8, Enemy Aliens, which I've already listened to. Quite by accident. Keeper of the schedule. I was like, yeah, I'm done on Tuesday. Hey, wait a minute. That's not what I'm
Oh, I
supposed
wish
to
we
listen
could
to.
talk about the 8th Doctor comic this week.
And the 8th Doctor comic, IDW Prisoners of Time.
Have you read it yet?
I have.
Have you read it yet?
no.
You and I can talk about it on the way out to the car. And then we'll also throw in our 50th anniversary discussion of the 8th Doctor's era, some of which creeped into the discussion tonight between Firefly and Star Trek and Star Wars and Hortzman and J.J. Abrams and Benedict Cumberbatch.
And many other things.
And then we are doing Scream the Shaka, right?
Yes. No. After that is Ninth Doctor, then Scream the Show. Well,
Okay.
Bad Wolf and
so I did
Parting of the
change it.
Ways.
Okay.
Yes.
So then Bad Wolf, Parting of the Ways for Friday Night Who on the 20th. I will be gone.
What are you
guys will
looking
still
at?
be
Oh,
here.
you're looking at your
I'm looking at
actual
my schedule. I
So
wanted to
you
make sure I
changed it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I only changed it online.
Yeah,
I only updated
I thought that I changed it here, but I want to make sure.
Okay.
While I'm gone, you guys are doing book reviews, Trading Futures, and Earthworld. You
Yes.
started on that. Then we're doing Scream of the Shaka the following week. And then I don't really have anything on the schedule yet because we're kind of still waiting to find out some of the Ninth Doctor stuff as it shakes out to figure out what we can put in there. So
Right.
that's why we're still kind of in that holding
Our Friday
pattern
Night
of-
Who's are planned out.
Yeah,
till
Friday
the-
Night Who's planned
till
out
November.
to
but
almost to the end of the year. But the important part of the show we haven't quite figured out
working
yet.
on it.
Well, we're actually discussing.
I think you're right. I think the problem is now we're coming into the Ninth Doctor era, and so we've got to kind of figure out where to fall down on that. If it's up to me, and maybe this is something we should talk about off mic as well, I'd almost be, unless this is too much for us because we're already reading a book, I almost wonder if we should just go ahead and do another Ninth Doctor novel, and all of us read the same novel, because those are pretty easy to get a hold of now. So
I would say that because Christopher Eccleston's not coming back to Doctor Who, we're not coming back to the Ninth Doctor. And we're just going to spend 4 weeks talking about other things. There will be no
talk about Doctor
There
Who.
will be no Doctor Who discussion on our Doctor Who podcast for 4 weeks.
oh, we can talk about Star Trek and Star Wars and Firefly, and
There's a plethora of
that doesn't
things.
stop us anyway, does it?
No, not so much. But that's where we're at.
All right, Ninth
So,
Doctor. All right, was that it then?
that's it.
Terrific. Well, if that's going to do it for this week,
Are you sure that's
I've
it?
got plenty of scotch.
Is there anything else you would like to discuss?
No, there's nothing else I'd like to discuss.
And you started late, too.
I did start
kinda
late.
gets a little-
It only took me
getting
two
a little
glasses.
angry.
It took me, no, not angry.
He was kind of getting a little angry.
I was getting earlier, but not
Yeah.
happy.
Now you're happy.
Aren't you glad I started
took
in on
another
the
drink.
scotch? All right.
Well, anytime he's a grumpy bear, we're going to get him a drink. That's the plan
He
now.
did go on quite a tirade, though, after the scotch.
You know, I'm sorry that I ruined the fact that we didn't get drinks paid for last night, by the way. You heard Dave. He was going to pay for our drinks, then he realized I was drinking, and he didn't want to break the bank.
Say what?
If that's going to do it for this week,
I
until
paid for
next week,
drinks?
I'm Glenn.
I'm Casey Kasem.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
And now, number one.
Be seeing you.
I don't have a song.
I wanted number one.
Keith's number one.
You should have...
Then don't you forget it.
Keith, I like you. He's not number one.
I think I am.
As voted by our fans.
Actually, if we took a vote now, he probably would. We would get outvoted because he'd go in and wake Sarah up. So.
That's true. Hey, come vote for me.
Hey, wake up, dear. I promise, it's important.
Vote by proximity. Not proxy, proximity.
She has a ring. She has to vote for me.
Was that in your vows?
Yes. It was on the marriage license, too. Just
I want to see your marriage license.
Is that what you pay for?
somewhere over there. That's what you pay for, the vote.
Wow, I got boned in my marriage.
It's a byline you got to add in.
You keep signing another piece of paper, giving away that vote.
Man, where was my attorney when I needed him?
Wait. Are you sure you want to do this?
Supposed to
You
be
realize
with,
you lose your
supposed to be with
vote.
the attorney before you get married, not after. Go.
I knew both your wives. They would not let you
No,
get with an attorney before you got married.
wasn't happening.
Oh, we're still rolling. Sorry.
Good night, everybody. Yes, turn on the AC. It's hot in here.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.